Installing. Please stand by.
I've been receiving strange reports of odd
Not as mounted a full counterattack.
Establishing battlefield control. Stand by. Primary objective achieved. Welcome back, Commander.
Good light. Shuttle's targeted. Coming left for the shot. Fox. Okay, flash 131. Hit 410. Understand your hit? Fox. Flash 1. Right. Merge. There's another one! Bingo.
Good evening, folks. Welcome along to weekend number 4 of TACT, the Tactical Air Combat Tournament. This evening, we have ourselves a match between ECV56 and the 64th Aggressors themselves. It's going to be exciting. We're just in the process of getting things sorted on the server. Most of the players are on the server now, just making some notes here as to who is in what, and we will be going live with DCS proper just then. So bear with me, just 30 seconds, and then we'll probably kick this thing off proper. Alrighty, so notes made as far as I need to be right now. I think we're going to have ourselves a cracking game here today, cracking match. The ECV64th, this is ECV64th, ECV56. I'm going to have to catch myself every time I say that. This is their first match in this TACT tournament, I think I'm correct in saying. I have a quick scan over the previous games. I don't think they have played thus far. Nope, this is their first of the tournament. Their second one will be coming up in a few weeks' time in kind of the middle of July against One Trick Pony. For the 64th, this is their second and final match of the group stage, having come away with a win against One Trick Pony in the first weekend of the competition. Fantastic match that was too. We had a 3-round battle between One Trick Pony and the 64th in that opening weekend. One Trick Pony managing to be the last jet flying in the first round, but sadly a fuel issue meant they could not get back to base to claim the win, so that ended up in a draw. 64th in rounds 2 and 3 came away with some impressive flying, impressive tactics, and juked out the win in rounds 2 and 3 and came away with it. I think we will expect to see something similar from the 64th today. They're certainly going to come as our good friend Bullet, who I believe is in chat, would say, fangs out and aggressive-like. Sadly, this evening I am on my own for this commentary, so it's going to be probably a lot of stuff happening. We'll do my best to keep on top of it all. I have a little notepad beside me for who has killed who, so we can talk over some things later. But we'll make the best of it. Right now I see 7 players slotted for the 64th. There are 2 people in a Tomcat. Again, we'll jump to DCS proper in a moment. And we have 5 ECV56 members currently on the server. I'm expecting to see possibly 2 more connect. I think we will have a Tomcat there too in a moment. So you're all very welcome. Hope you're having a fantastic Saturday. We certainly have been having a little bit of fun on the channel for the last few hours, flying helicopters around on the 104th and having some combined arms antics in the last few minutes before swapping over here to TACT. So let's dive in and have a little look, because this is, I think I'm right in saying, the first time we will have Bandar Abbas versus Carmen as our terrain. Alrighty, so as we say, ECV56 versus the 64th. We are on the Persian Gulf, and this is Bandar Abbas versus Carmen. So we're going to start round 1 with the 64th guys down here in Bandar Abbas. They are already on the runway. So we can see some awesome looking liveries here. We've got Yaga leading the way. I think most people in the DCS community will be familiar with Yaga. Excellent pilot, like most of the folks in the 64th indeed. Behind then, let's have a quick look at F10. We've got Jumper on the wing of X-Man. X-Man flying the Hornet, Jumper in the Viper, No Wheels in the Tomcat, and if my notes are correct, Vati is flying in the back seat. Let's double check that. Yeah, Vati is Rio for No Wheels. Then we have Crips and Tau Hermit as a pair of Vipers in the back. Let me know, by the way, in chat if there's anything wrong with audio balance, if you can't hear me correctly, anything like that. We'll do my best to keep an eye on the chat throughout this, but as I say, probably a lot going on, so we'll do what we can. Alright, thus far on the ECV56 side, I have to catch myself every time. I think I'm saying EVC, and that's why I have to pause. So we've got 4 Vipers slotted in here. We're going to talk about these liveries in a moment. Those are actually pretty nice. I like those. So we've got Fortnero, Machine, Shuko, and Triple. I'm definitely butchering those. And then over in a Tomcat, we've got Praetorian, and I'm expecting to see Malevo here, and probably butchering that as well, slot in as well. We'll be talking through a little bit about some of these pilots in just a moment. So the big thing we're going to talk about here before we get going proper is the terrain, and we'll probably talk about this a number of times throughout the match. So this is between the 2 airfields. We have about 190 odd miles between. So Bullseye is halfway between them, and we have the usual 45 nautical mile radius bubble from Bullseye in all directions, so a 90 nautical mile diameter. I'm just laughing at chat there, talking about a full fidelity MiG-29 when? 2 weeks. Always 2 weeks. So the most interesting thing, I think, about this terrain at the moment is that there is terrain. We saw it last weekend, if I can remember the exact match, bear with me while I check notes. We saw it last weekend between Taw and Harpia on the Caucasus, fighting between Vaziani and Koboledi. That terrain and the hills played a factor that some of the previous matches I don't think we saw in this to the same degree. I'm expecting that to step up a level with this terrain here, because if you look around Bullseye, we've got a big peak to the west. So about 13 miles east, that's a 12,000 foot ceiling. The ground around there is about 3,000 foot above sea level, so that's what, 9,000 feet above what would otherwise be the deck, going down to 6,000 there, where Bullseye is itself is about 9,000. So we've got some hills at play within the bubble, and also almost a wall of hills on this northern edge. Welcome to the stream, Jaxvag. Music, question mark. Yes, there is music. This is the Stellaris OST. Let me just double check player count and my notes pretty quickly, just to update who is where. Okay, so I think that is our complement of players in. If I can find a place to put my notes. So I just want to double check who is where in the ECV Tomcat. Okay, so as expected, Praetorian is flying, Malevo is popped in the back as Rio. Then we've got 4 Vipers. Again, we'll talk through these folks in just a minute. And Gandalf has come in the Hornet. So this is actually kind of interesting, because we've got a perfectly mirrored set of aircrafts. Both sides have a single Tomcat, human Rio in the back, of course. That is a TACT rule, although we may have seen... No, sorry, I'm confusing that with the Persian Gulf mission. No, Jester is not... sorry, Jester is allowed, human Rio is not a rule. But both sides obviously opting for the human Rio here, because it's a massive advantage. So single Tomcat with human Rio, 4 Vipers on either side, and a single Hornet. Alrighty, what else have we got going on here? Let me check my other notes quickly. Let's talk about the squadrons themselves. So we'll have some time to talk through this while they're in the air as well, but let's just kick off here with the 64th. They are the tournament hosts of TACT, Tactical Air Combat Tournament for the uninitiated. They also ran a Persian Gulf mission last weekend. I swear all these weeks are blending together, it's hard to keep track of what is when. So a little bit of info around the 64th themselves. The 64th Scorpions Aggressor Squadron formed in May 2019, but our members have flown competitive DCS and its predecessors, i.e. LOMAC, Lock-On Modern Air Combat, and Flanker 2.0. They've been flown for 10 plus years. Our latest composition result, I am told, was 2nd place in SATAL 2020. Is that bio coming direct from the 64th? So who we have on the server in front of us then? I can get the right F key. Alright, so we've got Yaga up front, and they've all now slotted into the beautiful liveries there, I have to say. Lovely blue hue to those. So Yaga, well known as I say within the community, Yaga is from the United States, and I'm told prefers the F-16. Coming in behind then is X-Man, and off his wing is Jumper. So X-Man is again well known to everybody and is from Sweden, preferring the Hornet. Jumper is, I believe, a cadet of the squadron. I've flown with him on the public service myself many times, very nice chap. From the United States and prefers the Viper. In the Tomcat, we've got No Wheels up front, and again, if my notes are correct, that is Vati in the back. No Wheels from the States is prefers the 14, but will fly the Viper too, and prefers to pilot the 14, so not surprising this combination. Vati is from Slovenia, prefers the F-16 or being a Rio in the Tomcat, so again, not surprising to have that combination here. At the back then, last but no means least, you've got Crips and Tau Hermit. Crips on the left is from the States and prefers all airframes, so pretty much a jack of all trades there. And then Tau Hermit from the States as well, and prefers the Viper. So there are our tournament hosts, the 64th Aggressors. 64th calling ready in chat. That's cool. We'll just have a quick scan now to ECV56, who are currently taking the runway. So I'm expecting in a moment to give the go as soon as these guys call ready. So ECV56, they are a squadron based in Argentina, but open to Spanish-speaking pilots. In fact, they have a lot of Latin American pilots, I'm told. So the squadron itself was born in April 2000, and since then doing flight simulation without interruption. That is a hell of a streak. So it means they have 21 years of continuous activity. Flying DCS since the very beginning with Black Shark and the 810C right up until now. The name ECV56 comes from the real Argentinian squadron of A4s, 5th Brigade, and Daggers, 6th Brigade, who flew in the Malvinas and Falklands War. The acronym ECV is Virtual Combat Squadron in Spanish, and I'm going to absolutely butcher this now, but I figured I had to give it a go. Escuadrón de Combate Virtual. Right, that is ready, so let's give the guys a countdown. Alright, go, 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 it's given. Both squadrons now should be going. So after butchering some Spanish, we will move swiftly on. We've got Fortunero and Tripo leading off here in the Vipers. A little bit more background for ECV56. The Condor is their the bird featuring on their logo. It's a majestic bird from the Andes Mountains. The bird in the logo is named Claus and is the squadron mascot. So I've got a shotgun takeoff going off here from ECV. 2 ship of Vipers up front, next 2 ship of Vipers, and then we've got the Tomcat and Hornet hanging back. Let's have a quick look at the 64th. Yaga is airborne, followed by X-Man and Jumper. Then the Tomcat is rolling, so Viper and Hornet waiting back. Slightly different configuration of things getting in the air. We will come back to those guys in just a moment. So ECV56, they've given me quite a detailed bio here, so I'll just keep reading it out for the few moments while we wait for things to get going. They tell me that they've no military ranks, anyone can join the squadron activity, like online campaigns, modern World War II modules. They train for every DCS module, naval operations, heliops, and competition team. They started competitive activities in 2019, entering SATAL competition, and again in 2020. They take part in events like helicopter tournaments, carrier wars, and some individual pilots and dogfight competitions, 1 versus 1 cannon only. Their intention is to spread their contacts with Squadron all over the world and share and enjoy the passion for flight simulation, which I think is something I think most people watching the stream can get behind in that regard. So up front here, out of the ECV56, let's just have a quick double check that that is indeed what we're looking at. It is. So we've got Fortunero. So most of these pilots are from Argentina. Buenos Aires province Fortunero's from. Prefers the F-16 and has 4 years in the squadron. One of the best pilots in air-to-air combat, we're told, so let's watch out for Fortunero, probably why he's leading the front. Directly behind Fortunero is Tripo. If we can have a quick look at the jet, see where he is in formation. Also from Argentina, Buenos Aires City. Prefers the Viper, so again, hardly surprising when we see the Viper here. And internally named the Surgeon. Apparently he really is a neurosurgeon. It'll be interesting to see just what precision Triple brings to the fight here today. Alright, so the lead element of ECV56 are 25 miles from the bubble. Lead element of the 64th are 30 miles. Let's have a little look at the setup here. 18,000 feet on X-Man, going into a spread with Jumper, who's up at 20,000 feet. Tomcat behind, 14,000. Tau, Hermit, and Crips then. We're missing one. Yaga's taking a wide cut. Okay, we'll come back there in a second. Crips and Hermit, 12,000. And Yaga going high. Interesting. So then if we look back to ECV56, 21,000 feet at the front, next two ship of Vipers coming in, 21,000 feet, Tomcats at the back, 21,000, with the Hornet trailing 19,000. Let's have a quick look at the loadouts. We've got all the slammers in the world on board with Gandalf here in the Hornet. Gandalf tells me that he, again, also from Argentina, Buenos Aires City, prefers the Hornet and is one of the founders of the Condor Squadron, internally named the Old Man, or the Admiral, because he loves naval ops. Let's have a quick comparison to the Hornet on 64th, and again we've got all the AMRAAMs in the world, so this is interesting. Both sides are using the Hornet as an AMRAAM bus. Kind of a quick scan through. I suspect our Vipers are all 2 or 3 bags with 6 AMRAAMs, but let's just have a quick double check on that. And 6 Phoenixes on board in the Tomcat, that's not surprising either. So all of the 64th Vipers with 6 AMRAAMs and 3 bags. Let's jump back here to ECV. Condors, lead 2 have 6 AMRAAMs. I see the second Viper there may have dropped a bag. I suspect they would have carried 3 to begin with. And sure enough, Vipers on both sides, same loadouts, Tomcat with the same loadout. So again, both sides mirroring aircraft, mirroring loadouts. I don't believe I saw a TGP on any of these Vipers either. Alright, greetings to everybody in chat coming in and just having a quick look to see what's going on there. Hello Darby, hello Trigger. Tucker TD1, hello, good luck to them all. Sorry Trigger, you're for the other team. Nothing wrong with a little bit of rivalry. So ECV56 have entered the bubble. We will come back to some of those other pilots a little bit later. Sorry, I just had to double check my notes just there. I had Gandalf written down twice and was wondering why I didn't see Trip on my list. So interestingly, the ECV guys are a good nearly 15 miles into the bubble, and the 64th are still outside, so that will give them a little bit of spacing away from these northern hills. So they'll get towards the bullseye area, the bullseye hills, more quickly. X-Man about to enter the bubble, 30,000 feet, 580 knots across the ground. Jumper in a nice combat spread there, 10 miles, similar parameters. No wheels at the back, got the Angels, got the energy. Suspect that airspeed will start coming up soon. Let's have a quick look on board. That's a very slow indicated, but that altitude, not surprising, across the ground, a little bit slower than I'd expect actually. ECV Tomcat is a little bit lower but faster, and we can see these lead 4. This is quite interesting. The ECV guys are still in a relatively tight formation. There's, virtually nothing between them. I would hope that they will spread out a little bit as they come in here, but it might be part of their tactic. So the last ECV aircraft, Gandalf, is just about to enter the bubble, as only 2 of the 64th are currently inside the bubble. So the 2 lead elements are about 62 nautical miles apart. We've got 2 Vipers and a Tomcat sitting behind, still outside the bubble, and the 4th Viper doing its cut. Darby and Yambo, thank you both for the follows. You are welcome. So the first Fox coming off here, let's see who that's coming from. Trippo, Fortunero is foxing 2. These are very long range shots. Both these guys, they've climbed since I last looked at their parameters. They are fast and high, 40,000 feet plus, 700-ish knots. X-Man is probably probably seeing that they were up there, but you never know. He's going to know that they're high at least. Jumper with him. These guys are no slouches. They're going to see this. They're going to preempt it. So there are 4 missiles out now, and my initial thought is I can't help but feel that that's a waste from ECV. I mean, that's a relatively low PK at 50 miles. These guys really need to just crank and defend. X-Man has climbed, as is Jumper. X-Man's flying straight into it. I'm a little concerned that he's not actually defending this. He's actually climbing up to make the missile's job easier. Alright, those lead missiles are now only 12 miles from X-Man. He has returned fire. I'm not sure if the lead are even tracking. They're lofting 90,000 feet. Okay, they are not good tracks. This one, however, is now 8 miles away. And this is why 3rd and 4th came off. Those 2 were dead. Don't know what happened to them. Jumper's turning around. That's 8 miles. Missile, 32,000 feet, has a bit of energy. He's going straight into the notch at 14,000 feet. X-Man's turning around, descending. Picking up speed. That is gonna be close, I think. 1,200 knots. Let's have a quick look. As we look at X-Man's missile, it's probably turned into a cheap shot at this stage. There is X-Man on the 11 o'clock of the missile, center screen, so that is trashed. Phoenix, 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 out from no wheels. 2 Phoenixes. There's going to be some talking about what's going on here on the eastern side later, but we will save that for now. Long Fox. I didn't pick this one up as we were watching X-Man defend. That's probably 50 to 60 miles. 50 miles now, so it's probably 60 plus when it was foxed. That's a very, very high Phoenix here from Praetorian. Not to forget, we've got a Levo in the back. We'll be talking about both of those again a little bit later. So a lot of missiles traded. This is X-Man's first one. That was really never going to be a factor, I think. Machine is 30,000 feet. That's passing over, that's not tracking. First Phoenix is going to be defeated there. Assuming that was on Chico. Apologies if I'm butchering that pronunciation. Second Phoenix is going to the right on the Tomcat. If anyone in chat has a correct pronunciation, or if I am getting it wrong, please let me know. I would hate to have a repeat of last weekend with terrible pronunciations of names. Unamusuke, I am sorry. Alright, so both Phoenixes from No Wheels are trashed. Remember, that is Vati in the back seat as Rio. Crips going into a notch, defending this Phoenix, 38,000 feet, 1,000 knots, descending, probably tracking. I want to say nothing else of these missiles is a factor at the moment, so we'll just keep an eye. Our final member of the 64th has started an ingress. Although, still, I wouldn't necessarily say in an advantageous position. 25,000 feet on that AMRAAM at 700 knots, losing energy. Crips is starting to turn in. That thing still has a little bit of energy, but I don't think it's a factor. Pretty sure Crips has just gone around that. Yep. That is defeated. Alright, Yaga with a big shot coming in. That's 36-ish miles plus 42,000 feet, 860 knots, so there's some energy behind it. But if that's tracking the line of drone, it's already defeated. If it's going for someone behind, like Fortinero, maybe, but possibly that's going for Gandalf. Well, it looks like it's pulling lead at the moment. If Gandalf sees it, we'll have a chance to defend. Probably isn't in trouble. Borchi, thank you for the comment. I will, I've just turned that down. Let me know if that is balanced. The soundtrack gets excited at times. Thank you for letting me know. Machine with the Fox, 20 miles on Crips. Crips at 25,000 feet, Machine at 19. This may have a chance. It's lofted to 30,000. Let's see what Crips does. This is Yaga's missile. Looks like it is tracking on Gandalf, potentially, but it's going over everybody's head. So that is defeated. That had no effect. We are in a 30-second delay, by the way, so you won't hear immediately when the music turned down. So I'm just going to wait for the chat to catch up and hopefully give me feedback on that. Phoenix out from Praetorian. That's on Yaga. That's about 40 miles when it was launched. Let's have a look at Yaga. It's at 45,000 feet. Praetorian 25. That missile looks trashed. Looks like it's falling behind Yaga here. Yeah, that's not a factor. So it's interesting looking at this split. We've got a, well, I was going to say it was a relatively straightforward grinder setup, but we've got two Vipers and a Hornet hot. The Tomcat's kind of floating on the edge. 2 Vipers coal from ECV. Fairly narrow width on them, only about 20 miles. The 64th, Jumper and Hermit are turning around. No Wheels is hot, Crips is in a beam, Yag is in a beam. Probably more 25 miles between them. I think ECV are pretty grouped up, but X-Man may be getting himself a little exposed here. I'm not sure where that's going, probably on Fortinero. The line doesn't look like it, though. It looks like it's going Gandalf. That's a 15-mile shot. X-Man is at 15,000 feet, Gandalf at 20, so that's going downhill. It's got the energy advantage. Fortinero is turning cold. That's disappointing for Fortinero, because I think he may have had a chance to push X-Man there, but assumed that missiles were coming on him, so being cautious, that's not a bad thing. X-Man let 2 loose. We're going to have to see where these track. One of them is braking to the right. 21,000 feet on it. I don't think it's tracking Fortinero. Doesn't look like either of those missiles are a danger. Shuko is turning cold, so I think these are both trashed as well. It's already better now. Thank you, Birchie. Appreciate the feedback. As always, let me know if balances are off. It's very difficult for me to know these things myself, so relying on you guys. Alright, and then the return shot, Gandalf to X-Man is trashed as well. So everybody's being a little cagey here. There have been a lot of missiles expended. Only 3 Phoenixes from the Tomcats. Missed the wing pylons for a second. Phoenix out from No Wheels. This is tracking on machine. This is dangerous. That's only 4 miles to go. It's got the energy, it's got the height. This could splash. It's tracking. It's tracking. Oh, into the terrain. Oh, good defending. However... No, not good defending. That was a splash. DCS, desync. No Wheels got a kill on machine. Alright, lots of AMRAMs being traded now. I think Gandalf and Crips here. Gandalf still has a lot of missiles, actually. He's turning back in. Has he notched it? 2 being fired back. That was from Gandalf, that was from Trippo. Crips has turned cold. Just gonna watch this. It's tracking, it's tracking! Gandalf is down. That's 2 down from the ECV in the last, 30 seconds? Yaga has a shot, 11 miles on Fortinero. Fortinero's at 10,000 feet. Yaga with all the energy in the world, 41,000. This is dangerous. Phoenix coming back in reply from Praetorian, but I think Yaga will be okay. The danger's on Fortinero now. 2 AMRAMs in the south that don't look like they're tracking. Gonna watch this quickly. And middle of screen, just above the missile head, is our... I was going to say Hornet, but it's a Viper. Looks like he's done enough to defend that. And that is trashed. Phoenix now, coming on Yaga in reply. That looks like it's... I want to say trashed. Altitude differences, that is 13, 14. Not very far away, actually. Not sure X-Man knew a huge amount about that. Phoenix on the left on Yaga is defeated. Shaco has an AMRAM out, but is drawing a Phoenix and an AMRAM from Jumper, so that's in trouble. That's 10 miles, 24,000 versus 8,000. We've got AMRAMs killing each other in the middle there. I think that was an AMRAM on a Phoenix. Trippo on the right, at 7 miles. Phoenix, not Phoenix, an AMRAM on Jumper. They're about the same altitude. Will it have the energy? No, that's going for the ground. That is, I think, defeated. Alright, so let's take stock. We've got 4 aircraft left on ECV side. A Viper and a Hornet splashed. That's Gandalf and... Machine, who died. Phoenix from Praetorian and Yaga. All 6 aircraft of the 64th is still alive. This Phoenix is dangerous. although it looks like it is trashed, or went off scope. That's surprising. Not sure what that Phoenix is, maybe it just wasn't tracking. Alright, that AMRAM's falling under Fortinero. So we've got 4 elements of the 64th now running cold. Crips, Tau, Hermit coming hot. Good grinder set up here. Phoenix thing, says Falcon, yeah. It's definitely... It's DCS. It's always the way, isn't it? I was sure that went into the ground until I no longer saw the Viper. Alright, AMRAM out from Crips. Crips is at 33,000 feet, 690 knots, 16,800 knots on the Tomcat. This is a dangerous AMRAM. There's a Phoenix out in return, also dangerous. AMRAM is descending hard, 15,000. It's still going downhill. This Phoenix is going on Crips. No, passing in front. Looks like it's defeated. Sand squirrels will eat that. Oh, and we've got a kill! I think we've got 2 kills there. No Wheels in the Tomcat has killed Fortinero. We have lost somebody else. Praetorian in the Tomcat died. I think there was a maneuver kill there, potentially. Might have been the AMRAM. I'm going to have to come back and check that. So Tomcat, No Wheels of the Tomcat has killed Fortinero. And that is either a maneuver kill or the AMRAM, I think, that came out from Crips. Let's just double check that. We've got Machine disconnected. I think Machine died earlier. Praetorian died. Praetorian the Tomcat. Fortinero died. Fortinero and a Viper. So the Tomcat got killed, and then a Viper got killed. But I don't see what killed the Tomcat. I'm going to assume it was a maneuver kill at the moment. Shaco's in trouble. And is splashed. That is a kill from Jumper. So ECV are down to a single ship now. No losses for 64th. And Trippo is very much in trouble. The writing is, I think, on the wall here. Has a single AMRAM remaining. While, yeah, all 6 members of the 64th are up. You can see immediately here, Crips has been quite conservative with missile use. Either the AMRAM from Crips got the Tomcat, or it pushed the Tomcat defensive enough that it couldn't recover. Either way, the Tomcat ate it, as we say. So Crips has plenty of munitions left. Yaga with an AMRAM now. Will this end it? That's Yaga Skosh. From altitude, 38,000 feet. Trippo's at 8. This, I think, will end things. And it does. Yaga with the final kill on Trippo, I believe. Yes. I can't even read my own handwriting. Alright, that was a decisive round from the 64th. It has to be said now. They have to not retreat, they have to recover to Kerman Airfield, 100 nautical miles out. Obviously with TACT, you have 2 factors of economy with these fights. You have missile economy, as in if you run out of missiles, well, you're down to guns and odds are against you. Obviously the 64th did really well in that regard. And then fuel economy. You have to recover to the opposing team's airfield. So they've got 100 nautical miles to go. They've got jets at 18,000, 27, 33. This won't be an issue. 40,000 feet. There's 6 jets. I suspect they can all recover. We may even see some form of formation coming in here. Would be nice to see. I'm just going to have a quick jump around of the jets just to see those final missile states. So X-Man was carrying 10 AMRAMs and is left with, what's that? 4, 5, 6, 7 and the 2 Sidewinders. So let loose 3 AMRAMs in that fight. Yaga let loose everything, stayed high, stayed fast, by the looks of it. We're going to come back and talk about Yaga in a moment, I believe. Tau Hermit sitting here with 4 AMRAAMs left. Crips has 4 AMRAAMs. The Tomcat has no Phoenixes. That's a good state for a Tomcat at this stage of the fight. I think that means No Wheels was doing the good work, to be fair. In fact, I'm going to go through the kills in a moment to talk through that. And then, who have we missed? Jumper, I think, has 4 AMRAAMs. So lots of missiles left from the 64th here. And if we think back to the opening weekend, it's something we've seen a number of times with squadrons, especially the more experienced squadrons in the competition, that they were very conservative with their missile use. They'll draw a lot of shots from the enemy, you know, take those kind of low to mid PK. Not to say that there were certainly that many of them here, but they will use that experience, use their position, and then fire when they need to, but also take the higher PK shots. I think that's quite telling that there are so many missiles left. However, the flip side of that is that they've got 6 aircraft left, so, you know, if they had lost a few, that would be different. People would have to fox more. So obviously with ECV having lost people early, if I can remember who that was, I think that was Machine and Gandalf for some of the early kills. That basically, you know, they have to put more missiles out because, you know, there's more enemies to kill and they've got to push them off. So as you can see, it's always the case that those early losses have a real compound effect of what's going on. Now, one thing I'm noticing just as these guys are transiting is that I don't think we've necessarily seen the terrain in a huge play as we necessarily might have thought, or at least as I might have thought. Be interesting to see the second round when it flips over how that matches up or how that compares. I think for the most part people were relatively high. Remember, these peaks here are kind of 9,000–10,000 feet. The weather for all these TACT events is cloudless, so you have perfect visibility. You're not going to get lost in a cloud and go off into a hill. Let's see, Jumper is near the hill, so I think that's Bullseye there behind, so perfectly visible, you know. You can avoid them, but there's nice terrain to hide behind. Just reading a few comments in chat, Roundabout saying it's pretty efficient overall. Agreed. Gamma, so many unused slammers, good hit ratio. Yeah, it was quite efficient. Pretty much what we've just been saying, and Borchi coming along saying typical tactical grinder versus grinder. Yeah, you just cut an edge off one of them, get a ship out, and it's very difficult sometimes to recover from that. Borchi, nothing special. First team to lose, first pilot loses the round. That's exactly it. Yeah, as soon as you start losing an element of the grinder, you know, it can be kind of taken apart piece by piece, and it's just got a cascading effect. Every aircraft thereafter, compounds the effect of that loss. You know, we've seen it several times thus far in the competition. We'll see it lots more. So I think going back to the initial comments I was making with this, I think that the terrain, not as huge a factor. I think the Tacview will be fun to watch to see whether maybe it was good with defending, but with what I think were so relatively few missiles from the 64th, it didn't really have that play as it would, for example, if we got down to both sides having, you know, low missile count. So, you know, there's potentially 2 rounds to go. 64th will be one up when they land a Kerman. I think that's almost a given at this stage with so many aircraft up. We will watch that landing before we conclude anything there for sure. And then we will get ready for round 2. So, going over the kills. What we have, these are not necessarily in order, but in the pilots who got them. Yaga had a kill on Gandalf, so that was Yaga high altitude, high energy kill. I think that was somewhere in the west of Bulls, perhaps, against Gandalf in the Hornet. Again, big loss to ECV, as we said at the outset in our squadron notes. Gandalf is one of the most experienced pilots in the Condor squadron, and also was carrying an awful lot of AMRAAMs. And we can certainly see at the end, as we said, of missile economy, that so many of them, we have a lot of disconnects coming here from the 64th. I suspect they may have just gotten word from ECV not to have to RTB, or else they're just letting 2 of them return. And we'll see what happens. Yep, that's them all disconnected. I have not heard anything chat-wise about whether that is an ECV basically telling them they don't need to land. I would bet money that is the case, so let me just double check that. Yep, server has gone down. Just waiting for confirmation. And yes, confirmation from X-Ban that ECV have indeed waived the landing requirement. That round 1 is ending early. Alright, updating the scoreboard. 1-0 to the 64th. Alright, so I'm just going to quickly talk through the rest of those kills from that first round. Yaga had the kill on Gandalf. Yaga had a second kill on Trippo. Jumper had a kill on Shueiko. Definitely getting that wrong. No Wheels and Vati in the Tomcat had 2 kills. They killed Machine in a Viper, and then they killed Fortinero in another Viper. So one member of ECV that I didn't see kill. Now this was either, I think, Crips with an AMRAM that didn't get counted, or I think I'm getting that wrong. I'm gonna have to double check that. Or else it was a maneuver kill defending the AMRAM. Looks like we're having a little change of roster here from both teams, so we're going to just talk through in a moment. Just waiting for the last couple of people to slot back into the server. We'll cut back live then. Just for the few moments it takes, let's put the schedule up. I think we've got 7 on each side here. Again, Tomcat on both teams, and a Rio with each, making that 7th person. So some changes to the roster. We have, I think, Crips has dropped out. Tab has come in. So I think that was Crips and a Viper, Tab coming in a Viper. And if I'm correct, that means Jumper has swapped out and Combs has come in. So 2 changes there for the 64th. Let's just have a quick look at the notes. Tab is from the US, preferring the Viper and the Hornet. And then Combs is not on my list. I have no notes about Combs. Apologies, Combs. So then on the ECV56 side, we have Gandalf has dropped off and Duco has come in. If I have a quick look over my notes here, Duco is from Mendoza province in Argentina, prefers the Hornet, so again taking over the Hornet there from Gandalf, and is 15 years in ECV56. That's an impressive stint, I think anyone can agree. So obviously ECV56 are not an inexperienced squadron by any stretch. It'll be interesting to see what they do differently this round. They certainly got, I think, bunched up. The phrase tactical blob came to mind. It was used in last week's stream and has tickled me since. And the ECV guys are taxiing, I believe. So I think it will be interesting to see if they can spread out more, I think, and not get picked off the same way. Put the 64th a little bit more defensive, perhaps. If I had someone beside me, I suspect they'd say they need to be more aggressive now, and really force maybe higher PK shots against the 64th. So let me just have a quick look over who is left here in our list of ECV56 pilots. So Praetorian in the Tomcat is taxiing down here. So Praetorian is from Argentina, like most of the squadron, from Buenos Aires City, an F-14 pilot, and has been, again, similarly, been in the squadron for more than 15 years, internally referred to as the Preto. In the back seat of the Tomcat, certainly by no means should not be mentioned, is Malevo, if I have that right. Malevo, yes. So, doesn't get the credit that Malevo deserves, usually. The Tomcat is often referred to in the singular rather than the plural, and always says that it's a team effort. It's the pair of them at it. It's an us, not me. So I think there's an in-joke in the squadron there. So Malevo is from Argentina, Rio Negro province, F-14 Rio, and as I say, usually not named in any match because the name doesn't come up on the map. So big shout out to Malevo in the back seat of the Tomcat. Rios don't get the love and justice they deserve. The pair of them apparently make for a very funny team in the Tomcat, and similarly again, Malevo has been with the squadron for more than 15 years. And then I think that leaves us 2 people to talk about here on ECV side. Let's jump to Machine. Machine is born in Puerto Rico and lives in Florida, in the States. So likes flying the Viper primarily, sometimes pilots the F-14, has been in the squadron for 3 years, and is internally within the squadron is named Copy, because that's how he will answer anything you say. Copy. And that leaves us, I think, with 1 person, Shiko. Although I think I may have to come back to Trippo in a second to double check that. Really liking these liveries, by the way. I think they're quite subtle. Just the subtle greys there are really nice. Shiko is from Argentina, Buenos Aires province. Prefers the F-16 and is 4 years in the squadron. And then just double checking my notes, we did talk about Trippo earlier, that's good. I want to make sure everybody gets a little shout out because he is the surgeon, and we did mention that earlier, although whether that clinical finish was there or not, I'll leave that to chat to determine. So I think that is everybody talked about. We've got a beautiful looking formation here from the 64th with the Tomcat behind. Yaga in front again. one thing I think we didn't really mention in our debrief so far is Yaga's cut to the east. We saw something similar from Taw last weekend with Dyron, and apologies to Dyron all throughout. I think the Persian Gulf stream I was calling him Dryan. I only realised that watching back to my horror. So yeah, he cut off to the east, went high, went very high, 40,000+ feet. I think I got to about 47, 48 at one point. Team logo still on screen. Apologies, Tucker. I can indeed take that down. I had my second screen filled with squadron notes, so I wasn't actually seeing chat until I hit it again. Apologies for that. So yeah, that was quite a cut over to the east. I thought for a long time that he wasn't actually accomplishing much because he was out of the fight. Okay, but squadrons are ready. Right, go is given. Both squadrons will be rolling now. I'm really interested to see what Yaga does with the with that cut again, if he does it again. Certainly give them another bearing to think about. Was a little bit more involved perhaps than Dyron was with Taw last weekend. So I think accomplished a little bit more. Certainly came away with 2 kills, so that's accomplishing more certainly. Again, thank you for that shout out on chat about the overlays. Tucker, Ordi and Gamma. I think somebody else said it too, Borchi. Yeah, give me that feedback whenever you see it, folks. We are on a 30-second delay, so it will take a little bit to get through, and certainly when the notes for the squadrons were up, I wasn't seeing any of that. But we are here now, and I'm keeping eyes on. While all that was going on, ETF Breeze came in with a sub 17 minutes ago. Thank you for that. And Neat Gelding, 4 minutes ago with a follow. Thank you as well. You are all very welcome along. I hope you are enjoying this match this evening, and have been enjoying all the matches of TACT thus far. So again, we've got 4 elements. The 4 Vipers of ECV have launched first. Tomcat and Hornet taking up the rear, so it's a very similar start. Yaga is doing Yaga stuff again. This is interesting. X-Man and Tab this time. So it was Jumper first round, Tab this time. Let me just double check that. Yep, Tab is another one of the cadets of the 64th. So, like the first round with Jumper, Cadet flying off the wing of the experienced one. I just noticed the colour of the pilot's jumpsuit and the helmet art and the patch. That is actually very, very nice. Good job, 64th. Really like that that livery. I love a digital camo anyway, but it's pretty cool the way it just takes that edge off. So X-Man has 10 slammers again. I think we're probably safe in saying that the loadout is identical for everybody else, but we'll just have a quick jump through. That's a very tidy formation there with Combs and Tau Hermit. Those of you who watch me regularly will know I'm a big fan of people making the effort to formate, so big credit to the guys there. 2 thumbs up here. And then we got Yaga over here, doing Yaga-y things. So there's still a good 30 miles from the bubble, so we have plenty of time here to get set up with things proper. Let's have a quick look through ECV's setup. So that's either a 2-bag start or the 3rd bag has come off early. And this is Fortunero. And again, as we just said in the first round, I was just checking my notes, Fortunero is the most experienced air-to-air pilot for ECV. So he wasn't one of the first kills, but certainly a big loss when his kill came around. And then if we look back at Trippo, it's 2 bags again, or else the 3rd bag has popped. It's kind of too much going on at once to have checked everything on the ground, sadly. And then Machine here with 3. That's interesting. So if Machine has a 3rd, I'm inclined to say those 3 Vipers only took off with 2. And anyone in chat who actually remembered that, please let me know. 10 AMRAMs again on the Hornet at the back with Duco, and a Tomcat. Praetorian and Malevo. We can't forget the Rio, folks. Same loadout, 6 Phoenixes, 2 Sidewinders, and I still really love that livery. It's just subtle, but it's really nice. That's the squadron logo under the side with the Condor. I have to check its name, Claws it is called. And repeated the other side, that's pretty cool. Alrighty, so they are now 20 miles, the 64th. ECV are 5 miles. It's interesting to me that the 64th are basically getting there more slowly. You know, if we look at the speeds across the ground, they're more or less the same, kind of 540. It might just be that the 64th had climbed a bit more, took it easy until now. Don't waste the gas. Let the other guys get a bit more legs out of it. Yaga climbing fast and hard again. Hermit and Combs have gone into a break there. Would have been nice to caught that on the stream, apologies. Got lights on. I'm sure that'll get corrected momentarily when they fence. Tau Hermit also has lights on. Reminds me of a little clip from last weekend's Persian Gulf stream with Tau Hermit. Everything was Tau Hermit this, Tau Hermit that. It was just a fun few seconds. Alright, ECV are entering the bubble. We have Draco and Machine, 30,000 feet coming in. Pair of them, again, keeping pretty tight. Triple Fortinero, 27,000 feet. The Tomcat, Praetorian Malevo, 25,000 feet. That's a little low. I'd like to see that higher, to be honest. And the Hornet behind just tracking with it. I think that Hornet is holding up that Tomcat, truthfully. I'm not convinced about that in terms of keeping them as a pair. X-Man up front, 30,000 feet, representing with that Hornet, and the Viper on his wing with Tab, 33,000 feet. No wheels at the back, 37,000. This is more like it from a Tomcat. High, fast, get lots of energy in those Phoenixes. Interesting too, we did not see early Phoenix shots as in stupidly long as the initial salvo from either team. Some of the earlier weekends of TACT, we definitely saw those as the trading shots. However, obviously no wheels and Vati in the back seat, used it to good effect in the first round. They chose their shots carefully. They got in when people weren't expecting it and came away with 2 kills. 64th have now entered the bubble. Bubble is contested. And we've got Tau Hermit, 22,000, and Combs at 25,000 in the back, slowly climbing. I don't think there's any rush on them, that's good. Don't need to waste the fuel. And again, Yaga taking a cut. Curious to see when Yaga gets involved in this and at what moment. I wonder, is it just a case if you get that far forward and you come in, or is there some something they're waiting for that the lead elements will be telling them, now's the chance. Blue Streaker, thank you for that follow. So while we have a little bit of breathing space, we have another match tomorrow. It is Grim Reapers versus the 104th Phoenix, 1900 Zulu. Low Blow will be streaming that, so make sure to check that out. And just the 2 matches this weekend. Because we have 5 matches coming up the weekend after. We will go through that schedule in a little more detail later. But 5 matches next weekend. Some of them simultaneously. In fact, I think there will be 2 simultaneously on one day and 2 simultaneous on the other, so it will be fun. Alright, lead element, ECV, are now 55 miles out from the 64th guys. Interestingly this time, Shaco and Machine are cutting east. They're not just tracking forward. The entire flight, in fact, are heading this way. Now, this is slightly dodgy flying from Fortinero here. He's going to have to be very careful because he has entered the bubble. If Fortinero leaves this bubble, that's him out of the fight. He cannot come back in. So if he fucks up his navigation here and moves too far that way, for example, only what, a mile away from it, then that's him out of the fight. I don't think we've actually seen this in any of the streams so far, any of the matches. Looks like he's tracking direct for Whiskey 11. So if he keeps true, it's only this last area here he'll need to be worried about. Right, AMRAAM out from Shiko. AMRAAM out from Machine. Those are effectively low PK shots to me. That's 25,000 feet. Although I think he's descending. Still about 25 to 30. They're lofting, but they are 40 miles. Not really a danger to X-Man. X-Man has come down, I think, which is interesting too. Did not fox while he was high. Fortinero has turned away from the steer point. That is Whiskey 11 to him. So that's good. I would hate to see someone knocked out of the fight for something silly like that. Good afternoon, Rob Christie. Welcome to the stream. Phoenix has come out. That's a good 25 miles. I missed that launch. I'm not sure exactly who that's tracking. It might be on the other Phoenix at the back. If so, that's a very long shot. Because that'll have been flying for now a while, and that's 60 miles, 60 miles now. So that could have been about a 70-mile shot. That Tomcat, 34,000 feet. The Phoenix has lofted to 59,000. 2,000 knots across the ground there. No wheels with the return shot. No wheels is relatively low at 28,000. Good track here from Malevo in the back seat as Rio. X-Man turning cold from that initial Fox 3. That's going to do nothing, similar to the other one. This Phoenix is what we got to watch here. No wheels is going to fly into it holding that shot. Fatty in the back seat will be trying to hold aspect. This thing's going to go active any second. It's 4 miles. He's turning. It's gone active, I think. Let's see what happens. It's trying to track. I don't see the aircraft. Alright, they're 4 miles cold. I think that is it trashed. Yeah, they are safe. So we got an interesting situation developing on the east. So Fortinero at about 30-something thousand when that was launched has lofted an AMRAAM to 73,000. That might just be going stupid. Up towards Yaga at 43,000. That is a 35-mile shot. That is a shot outside the bubble. I'm not sure what the rules say about this. Yaga is now foxing into the bubble. Similarly, I'm not sure what the rules say about that. Trippo has foxed as well, similarly high. Trippo's going to need to be careful here. Trippo is right at the edge. We're going to ignore the north at the moment. Those missiles are all trashed. Trippo may fall outside of the bubble. This is a really dangerous situation. He's trying to hold aspect. Keep hot. Keep that AMRAAM going until it goes pitbull. He's only about 2 miles away. Yaga's missiles coming in, diving 50,000 feet. He's turning away, so he's not going to go outside the bubble. Let's watch the AMRAAM. That's a hit. And that is one for the rules lawyers. I'm not sure if that is allowed or not, truthfully. I thought you had to be inside the bubble to shoot, so I'm very confused about that right now. But Yaga has a kill on Trippo. Someone in chat could check the rules for me, please. I would really appreciate that. Because I didn't think that you were allowed to do that until you were in the bubble. However, now that I said that, I'm pretty sure we saw Phoenix launches in the early weekends that were outside the bubble and then crossed into the bubble before, as in they were launched before they were inside it. So, we'll see. So Yaga got the splash, Fortinero has turned in. Fortinero is getting himself into difficulty here. There's an AMRAAM coming out, I think that's from Combs. Looks like it's towards Juco. This could be a very early loss for ECV. And I think if I were in their shoes that would be a bit of a kind of a shake-up at the moment, so we'll see how they react to this. Fortinero has shot again, that's 27 miles. This AMRAAM is getting close to Juco. Juco is a little bit in trouble here. Yaga and Fortinero exchange. That's another shot from outside the bubble in and inside the bubble out. Juco, I think, is in trouble. There he is. I think that's trashed. pull away and you're fine. That's trash. Alright, let's have a quick look here. Fortinero is 15,000 feet. Missile on Yaga has gone up to 45,000. Missile on Fortinero is 33. Yaga's 37. I think Yaga will be okay. We'll keep watching this, folks. There's a Phoenix in the center. Lots going on here. And an AMRAAM coming off from Shaco. I think Fortinero has done enough now to defeat that. That I'm going to call trashed and just keep an eye here to the middle. Yeah, that is trashed. Yaga is turning away. Missile on Yaga is 48,000. Yaga's at 42, so I think that's gone dumb as well. Starting to descend. I think that's trashed. Let's keep an eye on X-Man. X-Man has an AMRAAM on him here. 64th are being disrupted here. This is definitely more aggressive from ECV, but they really need a kill if they're going to balance this out from that early loss. Big loss there from for ECV from Trippo. X-Man has successfully defeated that AMRAAM. AMRAAM coming back is also defeated. Phoenix again out from Praetorian and Malevo. Falcon, this is bullshit. We're going to have to read back on this in a few minutes. That first Phoenix now has fallen off the scope, so I think that's been trashed too. I'm not keeping an eye on the altitude, so apologies folks. These people are down on the deck. Tab is certainly down on the deck. The deck is about 7,300. He was down at 8,000 or so. Tau Hermit is high. X-Man is relatively high, 18,000. Combs is 21,000. No Wheels tracking along at 6,000. That's pretty much on the deck. Phoenix is a dangerous Phoenix. If that's been held to active, that's a dangerous Phoenix on X-Man. That's about 6 miles. X-Man's 14,000, 20,000 feet. That's got a lot of energy behind it. Yaga is falling back, has not entered the bubble yet, so Fortinero's rejoining the fight. That Phoenix has not tracked, so that is trash, no longer a factor. Right, Juco has shot with Hermit. There's an exchange going on. Hermit is Foxbat at 15 miles. That was a longer Fox from Juco. Juco is up at 20,000. Hermit's at 22. Okay, so it's more or less a 50-50. Juco may regret that second Fox. That AMRAAM is only about 6 miles out, and he's going to try to hold Pitbull. He's going to get a warning any second. He's going to have to go for the notch. That's pretty close. 2 miles. Nothing else going on to keep an eye on, so I think we'll ride along with this. That's 15,000 feet. Juco's at 12. And it's tracking, I think. As in the dirt. The squirrels have absorbed that. Falcon, what is the point of the bubble if the whole fight is outside it? It's an interesting question. Like, 2 of the participants were inside. So there's a Fox from X-Man, 16 miles to Fortinero. Fortinero's 23,000. X-Man's low, 16,000, and relatively slow. That Fox in return is more of a danger. Second one out from X-Man. Has the missiles on board. Chirco with a cheeky AMRAAM, 11 miles on Combs. Combs defending at 24,000. That is more or less co-out. I think X-Man's first missile is trashed. Yaga is still well outside the fight, although has now come into the bubble, so can no longer leave. Okay, missile behind X-Man. Looks like it's slowing down, so I think that's trashed. Let's just have a quick look. There is X-Man. That is no longer tracking, won't have the energy. Let's just keep an eye. Yaga has put out 2 Fox 3s. That looks like it's tracking an AMRAAM. So there is the good old DCS seeing missiles on radar problem. Hopefully he hasn't put it on Tab. That would be a massive mistake if that ends up tracking Tab. But I'm pretty sure it's going for this AMRAAM here. Second one is going down to Machine. Machine has turned cold at 6,000 feet. AMRAAM's at 28. Shaco is looking up towards where Yaga is. 64th now has formed the tactical blob. I wonder if their grinder is still as cohesive as when they started. I get the feeling it's starting to break down, while similarly on ECV side, guys are getting separated here. You know, they've got a spread closing in, but that's a dangerous Phoenix coming out. If it's tracking anything, it looks like it's on the Tomcat at the back. 18,000 feet, still about 20 miles to go. That's a dangerous AMRAAM here from Combs. 7 miles and Shaco, he's in trouble. He really needs to get to a notch fast here, and he's going to be going directly into Yaga. Gonna stay in this F10 view for a second. Maybe a trade. Shaco is down, Combs lives. Missiles going south. Lots happening at the moment. Missile from Tab on Fortinero, that's 5 miles. That's also pretty dangerous. Just want to keep an eye on what else is going on here. There's lots of missiles flying about. That is in the dirt, I believe. Long AMRAM, 20 miles from Yaga, but Yaga is at silly altitudes. Machine is down at 8. Should be easy to defend since he's running cold, but the 64th starting to get their shape again here. So I think we've lost another person there. Juco died. No Wheels in the Tomcat killed Juco. We missed that kill. Too much happening at once. Tab and Fortinero, but 6 miles. This will be dangerous for both of them. 12,000 feet, 7,000 on Tab. I think Fortinero is going to die. Fortinero's down. That's a 6-on-2 now. So this is looking like the end for ECV, I'm afraid. The Condors have definitely, in my book, come out swinging more in this round, but the just those tight numbers fighting on the edge there. It looks like the 64th have just come away with those engagements the better. So 6-on-4, as we say. AMRAM coming out from Machine. I'm going to have a quick look to see there's one AMRAM left on board. Tomcat at the back. 2 Phoenixes. So the numbers are not in their favour at all, in any way, shape or form. It's about 10-15 miles when they launched. Yaga again is high, just YOLOing around high. That's what Vipers do. That missile is still got a lot of energy. Machine is having to run here. He's down on the dirt, down on the deck rather. Phoenix out, I think that's on Yaga. That missile looked like it's more or less trashed. So Praetorian really needs this to connect. That was, I'm going to say, about 10-15 miles. Second one out from Praetorian. That means he is Skosh. It's really got to connect. Is that on Combs? Combs? That's a kill. Big kill there from Praetorian, but is it enough? Second Phoenix has missed. He's taking a Phoenix in reply from No Wheels and Vati. It looks like it has hit the hill, so that has been line of sight with the terrain. That's where these hills at Bullseye have been useful. So Praetorian is Skosh. Machine is Skosh. This is not good for the guys. There's a long Fox, 15 miles there. I think that came from X-Man. I don't expect that's going to have legs to do anything. Plenty of missiles on board with X-Man. Tab, 4 left. 1 Phoenix left on No Wheels. Tau Hermit has 4. And Yaga has none. Interesting round. Obviously the big talking point about this round will be the bubble. I don't think there's any getting away from that and those early Foxes. Because that first loss for ECV was big. It was definitely big. So Machine running cold. Tab is just going to burn down on Machine here. 8 miles. There's a 9 mic from No Wheels. And a Phoenix. Praetorian with a 9 mic. We're going to stay with the jet here. Oh, and there is the kill. There's not much you can do with a barrel roll against a Phoenix there, and while we were watching that, Tab has indeed burned down on Machine. So that, I'm afraid, is the end for ECV. So just to confirm, No Wheels and Vati in the Tomcat got a kill on the opposing Tomcat, Malevo and Praetorian. And then I think we had... X-Man, I got the kill technically, but I don't think I'm counting that because it was definitely dead at that point. That is a Tomcat kill in my book. And Tab killed Machine, as we said, just burned down, just pressed, had the energy, had the range, had the fuel. So that is 5 64th jets left. As old Pixie, how much did you miss? As Horty says, pretty much the whole thing. Oz Dead Neat, that was very one-sided. Unfortunately, from a kind of a viewing perspective, I have to agree with you, yeah. That has ended up being one-sided in the end. I'm going to have a quick inventory of missiles here, just to see how many the 64th have come away with. So, 4 AMRAAMs, 2 heaters on board with X-Man. Yaga, we said, was already Winchester. There's Winchester. Tab has 2, after burning down and killing Machine. Tau Hermit coming away with 4 missiles, and Tau Hermit still has Tau Hermit's lights on. Tau Hermit, come on now. No wheels, with just a single Sidewinder at the back. Borchi with a little bit of sarcasm there. It was really nice to watch a grinder. Azal Pixie is watching Italy-Austria. I'm assuming that's the football. So, yeah, is the offside rule the equivalent of the bubble here? As Full Metal Cookie is implying. And sadly, again, as Borchi says, no turnaround in the match. From, again, this kind of the streaming and viewing point of view, it is great when these things go down to a third round and go down to the wire because it's highly entertaining. But that was quite a decisive performance from the 64th. So again, big credit to them. I think there's going to have to be some discussion, or at least look up on the rules about that in and out of bubble stuff. My gut feeling, from having watched through all of the matches thus far in the competition, is that we've seen this before, and that I think this is allowed. I'm pretty sure on one of the earlier matches, I want to say that it was PTF against SPQR, that we saw ludicrous range Phoenix shots, for example. I think it was 87 miles, something silly like that, and that it was effectively kind of crossing the bubble, like something like this, if you can see where the line I'm drawing out here. That one guy was outside, it went through the bubble, hit the other guy. I'm not sure that necessarily got to a point of saying, is that allowed? I think we'll probably have to look back and see. I think it was just accepted that it was a kill. Certainly, from the commentary point of view, Tricker and I were looking at it, and I don't think either of us at the time thought about that. But this one was clearly 2 guys inside, 1 guy outside, missiles flying in and out. So, as I say, my gut feeling is that it is allowed. We'll just have to check the rules, you know? I was having a quick scan over the ED forum post here at the moment. And while I do that, let's watch the 64th, because I think we're getting a nice little formation shaping up here. I would love to see them actually land in formation. Give us the viewing candy, please. 6 Harriers and a hover dancing, oh my god. Go away, Kraut. Thank you also to Blue Streaker, Patrick O'D for the follows, and Disney with 200 bits. Thank you, Disney. Good to see you here. And Borchi with 100 bits. Thank you all very, very much. So technically, as we say, we have to wait for the 64th here to land before we can credit them with the win. The second round, and that is the match then. So until they do, I will leave the scoreboard as is, but I think the writing, as we say, is on the wall. I'll be honest, looking over the forum post there is nothing talking about shooting in or out of the bubble. The win conditions for TACT, as we just watched this third ship join, this is actually very nice. As we said earlier, give me a nice formation and I'm a happy man. You know, the win conditions for TACT is that you basically kill all the opposing team's aircraft, and then you have to recover to the other side, or you have air superiority of the bubble for 5 minutes. If you leave the bubble, it's counted as effectively as a loss in that regard. I think that's you out of the fight. Although similarly, I'm not sure it's necessarily written down black and white 100% there. It's certainly been clarified to me as such. There's engagement bubble 90 nautical miles in diameter, so if you have air superiority, as in there are no enemy aircraft left in the bubble for 5 minutes, then you win. So as Flying Manatee is pointing in chat, the rules don't specifically forbid that, but with the approach to missile meta, etc., you don't like the tactic, feels like a meta approach. Yeah, it might fall under what is fair play or sportsmanship or things like that. I mean, again, I think we have precedent from other matches, and I don't think there's anything really too... You know, it's not black and white written down to say you can't shoot into the bubble, you can't shoot out of the bubble. So I think we have to take it as, you know, it's allowed. And I think if we look back on, you know, the streams and TACT views from similar matches earlier in the competition, we will see similar. Certainly with the Phoenix at ludicrous range. What's different about this one, and this is why I think we all kind of have to take a moment just to think about it. That's nice. Basically, is that you had someone flanking high out from, you know, deliberately going around the bubble, like we saw Dyron do last week. I want to say the Yaga and Dyron are the only two I can think of off the top of my head who've done it like this. And, you know, the ECV guys, you saw it from the first round, you know, knew that it was happening and thought we're going to now push. And if we can get an early kill against Yaga, then the match is in our favour. And I think that was a good tactic. I think that was a smart thing to do. So, again, we're only really talking about this because we haven't seen it where the other side have actively pressed that wide flanker. So, again, my gut feeling is that it's okay. It, you know, was just a moment of, hang on, we haven't seen this before. But thinking about it more and more, personally, you know, I'm not an adjudicator for the tournament, anything like that, but I think it's okay. Gandalf, welcome to the stream. Good fight, 64th. Well, fair play to you guys at the ECV56 the Condors. I think there was an entertaining fight there. Sadly, it has just ended up being, you know, a little bit more one-sided than we would have liked. But I think the the big talking point, obviously, is the push on Yaga there from Fortinero, and I want to say Trippo was over there, but I'm very much open to correction on that. I think Trippo died first. Let me just double check. Yaga killed Trippo, so yes, that indeed is who was out there. Zergberger, welcome. Seems like it's setting up a dangerous precedent, opening up for even bigger abuses. Gamma says, what's my motive to fly into the bubble and fight outside? Once there's rules, outside there's none. I think, Gamma, the motivation is that to win the fight, if none of your team entered the bubble, then the other guys have air superiority for 5 minutes. So they win. You have to go into the bubble. You know, otherwise the other guys will just win. And you don't have to kill them all. In fact, like, if they're in the bubble for 5 minutes and they just sit at bullseye loitering, you know, the game is over. I don't think when they exit you can legitimately shoot them down then. You have effectively lost. You can't just defend your own airfield and stop the RTB. That's not in the spirit of it, you know? You won't be able to kill them if they're sitting on the other side of the bubble, Gamma. That's the point.
Incoming transmission.
Praetorian, welcome and thank you for the follow. Unlucky, I'm assuming this is ECV Praetorian. You folks had, I think you had a good showing there in that round. You had a kill indeed. I just want to talk through the kills while we watch this lovely little 3-ship formation come into Bandar Abbas. So what we had, the initial one, as we were talking about, Yaga killed Trippo. In that push to the east, Pusho and Fortinero. Then we had, this is not necessarily in order, but No Wheels had No Wheels and Vati, excuse me. Vati is the Rio, had 2 kills against Duco, and then against the other Tomcat, Praetorian and Malevo. So a big shout out again to Malevo in the back seat, who doesn't get much coverage, I'm told. So that was the 2 kills for No Wheels and Vati. Then we had Combs got a kill on Shreko. Apologies if I'm butchering that name. And then 2 kills for Tab. So impressive round from Tab. Fortinero, and then Machine. So again, there were 2 aircraft on the 64th side with 2 kills. Polly Machine and Duco, thank you both for the follows. You're welcome along. Kami, welcome. Are you winning? Well, I think X-Man is about to be the first to touch down here to secure the victory for round 2, which will give you guys the win. Yaga YOLOing it into the overhead. Ah, nice, way high. he spent the entire match up there. No Wheels is loitering, 75% RPM. I think he's having fuel issues. Potentially, but let us stick with X-Man for the final touchdown. Oh, it's Malevo's birthday. Shout out. Well, happy birthday, Malevo. Unfortunately, we can't be congratulating you on the victory. We couldn't do that. It was not in our power. But happy birthday. Hope you enjoyed the match and had fun in the back seat. We've been doing all we can to give you the credit that Rios deserve. You've been getting a lot of shout-outs here. A little bit of a crosswind, perhaps, or just lining up here from X-Men. And a gentle touchdown, that is the round. Nope, that is the wrong... That is the wrong transition. I updated the scoreboard and cut to it. My bad. Pistol. Wait, Rios deserve credit? Too right. Too right. These cocky pilots coming along, taking all the glory. And again, big shout out to Vati. Looking over the 2 rounds of this match, No Wheels and Vati in the back seat there, the more important person, they've come away with 4 kills in the match. 2 in the first round, 2 in the second. They killed the other Tomcat, Praetorian and Malevo. They killed Fortinero, they killed Machine, and they killed Duco. So Tomcat's doing some really good work in this match. Alright, just catching up with some messages outside. X-Man confirmed again, just the that first round landing was waived by ECV and sent through confirmation, which is nice. Thank you, X-Man. And then confirmation that they were indeed landing this time, which is we've just watched, so a little bit behind there. Alrighty, so we will just watch these guys taxi out, and then look for the Tacviews and spend just a couple of minutes looking over, see if there's anything interesting that jumps out at us. Talk through what we've just watched. Kami, I am apparently 100% your favourite German streamer. I'm not sure how to react to that. Dankeschön. I think he knows that, Kraut. It's a nice tidy approach and landing from the 64th here. There was a Tomcat in the air, so let's watch it come in. He was doing all sorts of things up high. Ooh, landing short here. Oh, not even covering the threshold. Slight slide there. But they're down safely too. Alright, so again, that is the second round done. The 64th have won that. I can say here someone talking about Huck. I'll see a Huck down. Won that 2 rounds, 2-1. 2 pretty decisive rounds from the 64th. Good effort to the to ECV. Unfortunately, just wasn't your day, folks. Kami reading my mind. Tacview debrief awesomeness from some sort of altercation of my name. Would I expect anything less from Kami? No. I do really like that livery. It's pretty sharp. Pretty sharp. Alright, so the server will be coming down here in a moment. We will then just put up a little holding screen for a couple of minutes. In fact, I think we can call this finished. Let's have a quick look at the scores again there. Tab with 2. These are not representative of what I tracked again. I think X-Man came in and stole a kill from the Tomcat. Effectively, DCS logic. And Combs obviously had a kill as well, but had to disconnect because Combs got killed. Gamma, no guns kill this time. Yeah, unfortunately, everything was relatively long ranges. I don't think we had any merges, any opportunity for BFM. Okay, so I think we will have the server come down here in a second. I have just downloaded the Tacview from the first round, so that when the server comes down we'll get the second. So I am going to do a quick be right back, take that opportunity to refresh a drink, and then we will jump into some Tacview. So before we wrap up that aspect though, just a big congratulations again to the 64th. Looking sharp in these liveries and very nice tidy landing coming in. And commiserations to ECV56. Good fight. Just, as we say, unfortunately wasn't your day. And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We'll watch some Tacview. folks, I have returned. So just before we watch the Tacview, while we have the schedule up here, we'll talk a little bit about what else is coming up in TACT over the coming weeks. So this is not the only match of the weekend. We do have another match tomorrow being hosted by Mr. Loblo. That is at 1900 Zulu, and that is the Grim Reapers versus the 104th Phoenix, and that should be a cracker. The next weekend we have 4 matches coming up. Those 4 starting on the 2nd of July. I think that's Friday. 1 second. It is indeed. So Friday the 2nd of July, again 1900 Zulu. Deliberator in his first solo stream, I think I'm right in saying. He joined Low Blow for one previously. We'll be covering Toro versus Bravo. Now 1900 Zulu, Friday the 2nd. Then we've got 2 matches coming up on Saturday next. Saturday the 3rd of July, both at 1900 Zulu. So that'll be an interesting one to see. We have MCPV versus the number 15 Battle Axes. That's being hosted by myself here. And then the second one is TFT versus PTF, being hosted by 104th Maverick. 2 matches then Sunday next weekend, and again both of those are at 1900 Zulu. So that'll be HH versus SF. And again 104th Maverick will be hosting that. And at the same time, our good Finnish friend Misi will be hosting Bravo versus D3W. So both of those 1900 Zulu Sunday, 2 matches 1900 Zulu Saturday, and then 1 match 1900 Zulu Friday. So 5 matches coming up next weekend. So tune in, that should be good. In the meantime, as we say, let us come back to this Tacview, because we've just finished watching ECV56 take on the 64th, and unfortunately for the Condor squadron, our Argentinian friends, the 64th were, I think it's fair to say, a little bit dominant in that match. So we'll have a little look at the Tacview here, talk through what we've seen, see what may have worked, what may not, or just talk through the parameters. See if anything jumps out at us. So it would probably help if I opened Tacview at this point. I've just been rattling off here for a while. I do have both Tacviews downloaded, I think. Alrighty, so let's start with round 1, because that seems like a good thing to do. I'm just going to hold for a couple of seconds here. My OBS tells me the Tacview is up, but I would like to wait for the stream delay to catch up, and then we can confirm that. Okay, stream delay has caught up. I can see Tacview on the stream. I can hear everything on the stream caught up, so that is all good to go. Mark 5004. Hello, good to see you. Welcome along. Hope you're enjoying it. Alright, so Tacview. This is round 1, where we had the Condors in the north and the 64th in the south. So the Condors are out of Kerman and the 64th were out of Bandarbass. Let's just roll this sucker forward. Alright, so here we go. So we have the first Vipers departing. I'm just going to draw a line to, I think, the initial element here, if I can find where they are. That would be X-Man, I think. Here, there we go. That's what we want. I'll just roll this forward. Okay, 97 miles apart. I think they're more or less entered the bubble. That's the word I'm looking for at this point. So the most interesting thing I think we've seen of this fight, it's probably the most unusual in this regard, is Yaga's cut to the east. It certainly has the most talking points from the second round, so we'll come back to that separately. But for now, he's at 38,000 feet, Mach 1.3, and just cranking around. I think there's a little bit of a discussion to be had about how effective that was, or what it accomplished or didn't. Certainly, I think he came away with a couple of kills in this round. Yeah, checking my notes. So, he accomplished things, but I think he accomplished them more or less when he got into the middle. So we'll see how it plays out here. Initial 4-ship of Vipers from ECV. It's going to increase the speed a little bit. The 2 on the west here, up at about 40,000 feet, they're supersonic, Mach 1.2. First AMRAAMs launched 50 plus miles, about 53 miles. Second ship are lower and slower. So these are, you know, pretty low PK shots, truthfully. I mean, Mach 1.2 is fast, but it's not Viper fast. And even up that high, you don't have the legs you think you do. It doesn't take much. I think what I'm trying to say is it doesn't take much for X-Man to defeat these. If I remember correctly, these first 2 here actually go stupid into space, so they're never a factor, and that might be why the other 2 got launched. I'm not sure if that was an opening tactic or not. But of the 12 AMRAAMs that these 2 Vipers were carrying, 4 of them are now gone. So in missile economics terms, you know, questionable. Mark, am I still flying or am I done for the day? I will indeed be flying after we wrap up the stream. And I will probably be streaming again. But for now, TACT and Tacview. Let's have a quick look here. So X-Man Fox is 15 miles. He's down low. He's subsonic. Not entirely sure what he's foxing at here. Probably one of these guys in the lead, I want to say. That's what? 26 miles. Again, that's just a defensive shot. That's very low PK. This AMRAAM's hauling ass down on him, but even at 5 miles, he's turning cold. Let's let the speed build up here. So it doesn't take a huge amount. That didn't look like it tracked in the terminal phase. I think it lost him at some point. Now we got missiles going overhead I'm going to come back to. But initially, let's just watch that second one again. Jumper defended. Chaff coming out from jumper there. I think it's just pulling lead, and more or less what happened with X-Man. Just kind of went into the dirt, I think. Yeah, I'm not convinced that had a good track there, to be honest. Alright, so then No Wheels comes along with Vati in the backseat. Let's not forget the Rio. Rios will get a lot of coverage here today. So this shot goes out. I'm going to have to see who it's on. I have a feeling it might be the one back here. That's 2 targets. Left one, this one, is possibly going here for this Viper, if it will track. Right one certainly going over towards the Tomcat. And that just goes stupid. No, there's no good track there. Okay, we're going to come back to some of these other missiles. Let's just watch these Phoenixes for a moment. This one similarly doesn't track. So let's just watch back. So I think No Wheels may have had to turn defensive. Here we go, actually, yeah. So they did not get to the to go pitbull properly, I think. So they just went dead, I suspect. So if we watch, this missile came out from Shuko, and I apologize profusely if I am butchering that man's name. It is Machine, however, who foxes this missile out on No Wheels and Vati. 42 miles. You're at 32,000 feet and you're barely supersonic. Your Tomcat is 36,000, so why not? Look, I mean, if he's going to hold hot to support those Phoenixes, oh, actually it wasn't him, it was Shuko who launched, wasn't it? I'm looking at the wrong one. That goes after Crypt, and we'll again come back to that in a second. Like, I don't think there's anything interesting or too interesting that goes on here, but if we look at the Tomcat again, 41,000 feet, you're at 37, you're, what, supersonic. Why not? He might fly into it. I wouldn't waste too many. I think every aircraft will have a couple of shots like that that may get lucky on. When we come back to Machine, Cripps was in this first round, was not in the second one. And did a pretty good job, I think, at defending that. So again, Machine is launching here 44 miles. Viper is hot, 33,000. It's an ambitious shot. Which reminds me a little bit of watching the 14th last weekend, if Kraut is still on stream. Ooh, that looked closer from the other angle, but it passed under, so Cripps knew, I hope knew, that was defeated and turned back in. Didn't necessarily look like it was tracking too well in that terminus phase. Alright, let's just let this run. A few AMRAMs in reply. There's nothing really tracking there, I don't think there's much to watch. Yaga, let's come back to Yaga. So, most interesting thing initially here is that we draw a line to bullseye. Yaga is inside the bubble at 39 miles, 49,000 feet, Mach 1.3. That is pretty high. And reasonably fast. Descending then to get the extra. I'm not entirely sure who this is tracking on. Tomcat, maybe. And thank you for that follow, Mark. 10 miles. This is not tracking. So that was just a dumb AMRAM. I think, did Yaga turn cold? Did he support it all the way? I'm gonna say no. I think around there that's become a cheap shot. And just couldn't reacquire. I'm not really sure looking at the missile if it ever really went active proper. It doesn't jump around at all. So there's a Phoenix coming out from Praetorian and Malevo. That is not the key I was looking for. There we go. Moving my notes forward and I hit a wrong button. Alright, Tomcat, let's rip with a Phoenix on Yaga. Yaga's turned cold. And again, the parameters are just the big factor with DCS, you know. Like, that is a cold Viper at this point. 36 miles, Mach 1.4, 39,000. You're low. It's not a high PK. Maybe you're hoping you'll turn back into it? If anything, I think that's lost track. I think that's lost in the beam there. I think Yaga slipped into the notch, and they turned cold when they realized it was a track. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna jump over to X-Man. Pair of AMRAMs out. They're definitely tracking, but I don't think with the legs. Shaco's defensive. That's going after Chaff, I think. That one's trying to pull lead, but is defeated. The train doesn't look that impressive here compared to what I was saying in the initial intro to the match. Oh, there's the kill. Alright, there's first blood. No Wheels and Vati. Let's just jump back to when they foxed that. This was on Machine, I think I'm right in saying. "13 miles and the Viper's hot." That is just a dangerous range. Dangerous, dangerous range for a Phoenix. Good luck to anyone with that. I think we've all been there. You're 17,000, 17,000 co-alt, you're just supersonic. That's going to have energy. And down it goes. Down it goes. Still has lots of energy here. I think Machine needed to find the notch, went for the terrain masking, couldn't get around this hill fast enough. If he managed to get around earlier, it might have gone, but this is exactly what I saw on the stream too, is I saw the missile die here in the hill, and the jet was in front, so I could see the distance. So Tacview's backing that up, that it's just DCS shenanigans. Unfortunately, I think Machine got unlucky there. Breakshot coming in with the raid. Thank you. 13 people coming across. Welcome to everybody from Breakshot stream. We're just talking about ECV56 Condors versus the 64th Aggressors. The match has finished 2-0 in the favour of the 64th, as the scoreboard at the top of the stream will tell you. And we're just going through the first round here of Tacview to see how things went. What we can pick up, what jumps out at us. So Gandalf is trading missiles with Crips. Crips with a big energy advantage there. Gandalf going for the notch. And then descends. Ooh, that's a dangerous missile. I have a feeling this hits. And that was the end of Gandalf. That was a big loss, I think, for the Condors there. If we just rewind for a moment, just one of those things. They just need to find the notch, and Gandalf didn't, unfortunately. Like, that engagement started at 20 miles. Is that right? Hang on, that's Yaga's missile. I was looking at Crips. Yaga got this kill. Did I allocate this correctly? Yes, Yaga killed Gandalf. So let's just look at this. I think Gandalf may have been foxing on Crips. Yeah, okay. So here's stupidly high Yaga, stupidly fast. 25 miles with the AMRAM, but Yaga is at 47,000 feet, Mach 1.6. Holy energy, Batman. Yeah, Gandalf, that's a lot of energy. It's either try and outrun it or go for the notch. At that range, you'd need to be kind of turning immediately and preempting it. Sadly, you're foxing while it's only 10 miles away and it's 40,000 feet, a Mach 3.5. So your only choice at that time is the notch. And unfortunately for Gandalf, couldn't pull it off. Here's another missile from Yaga on Fortunero. Oh, Fortunero snaking. Hopefully that gets away. We've seen a lot of pilots in the last... I'm just going to jump back to this for a moment. In the last couple of streams that I've watched, where they've gotten themselves killed with the snaking maneuver by effectively braking one way, defeating the missile, and then reversing the turn to actually turn back into it, because it would still had enough energy to reverse with you. So thankfully for Fortunero, got away with that. I don't think the missile had enough energy or tracking to be a big danger at that point. Let's just see how close it got. Yeah, 3,200 feet, still a good distance away. Now, the Phoenix going out at Yaga, we'll come back and watch that in a moment. It doesn't really track, but again, we'll just look at numbers. I think, you know, we talked about what did Yaga accomplish from the flank, and I think we're seeing here at this stage that Yaga's in the fight. So, really for me, Yaga's flank, you know, took some focus off the front momentarily. There was a Phoenix from the Tomcat, there was maybe an AMRAM from someone else. But now, you know, what it's accomplished is that he's high and fast. And that's the main thing. I mean, you could accomplish that from just kind of loitering at the back a little bit too, but, you know, why not? You might get lucky, you might get an opportunity with that flank. It can be risky. We saw it last week with Taw, even though they won the match. I still question whether the flank had the same effect, and hey, again, to come out with the win. I mean, I guess that is part proof of it didn't detract from it to the point where it was a problem, at least. Alright, so let's look at this again. What are the numbers? Because that is a 30-mile shot. Phoenix turns hot and then turns cold pretty quickly. That's a silly level of speed. So Yaga had Fox Fortunero. Tomcat's trying to hold this. Does the Tomcat get a warning? No, AMRAM's far too low. It just doesn't track. I think the radar just lost Yaga. So again, probably fell into the notch for a minute and then that was it, spoiled. Jumper with an AMRAM on Shriko. Nobody's corrected me in chat, so I'm going to keep with what sounds vaguely correct, although I'm pretty sure I'm butchering it. Right, nothing much happening there. At this stage of the fight, we are, what? I think it was 0830 when it started. However long the server was up before, but we're about 37 minutes in. ECV have lost 2 jets, so Gandalf died not finding the notch, and then we had somebody else. I'm trying to find the name. Machine. Yes, Machine died to the Tomcat, Phoenix. Very close Phoenix again, lucky at the terrain. So those 2 losses in quick succession at this stage, it's kind of the 64th to lose unless, you know, the ECV can actually get a kill or 2. You know, if the next kill goes against the ECV, then that's pretty much the game at this stage. But if they could get one of the 64th dead, then, you know, they might still have a chance. Yeah, it's just unfortunate, I think, just thinking about Machine's death with the train and Gandalf can find the notch, so... Hey ho, let's run it on. See what happens next. All 4 ECV are hot. That's kind of why I stopped for the summary there, because I think a lot kind of happens at once here. This is potentially unfortunate for the Tomcat. Let's lose a Phoenix. Tomcat goes into the dirt. Let's just double check this, because this is what I think I was talking about in the stream as we watched it live. I have this written down as a maneuver kill. I did not see any kill against Praetorian and Maleva. So we will just rewind this briefly and just double check that, because they let loose a Phoenix here against X-Ban, and this is a pretty close Phoenix, to be honest. Like, they're Mach 1.3, they've height advantage, a lot of energy. 10-mile cold Phoenix shot is not beyond the realms of possibility here. That has the legs to get there. You know, normally 10-mile cold shots, say with an AMRAM, you're kind of going, really? But no. Cripps, I think, was the one who put the missile out then, so he's up at 33,000 feet, nearly Mach 1.2. The egg is off cold there, 39. And that is 13 miles, so that is pretty close. For that altitude, that speed shot, yeah, Tomcat's kind of in trouble. But I don't think it's actually the missile that kills them. What I'm curious about here is if we watch the G limit as they defend, do they over G? They pull 12G. Like, we don't have the ability to look. Did they break their wings here? Did they black out? And then, you know, that looks like possibly a G-lock. I think that's a G-lock. Let's have another quick look at that. Ooh, I just saw 14. Oh, that's AOA. That's 14 come up in a figure there and kind of went, oh god. Let's quickly slow this down. Let's see, try and figure out what happened to the Tomcat here. If Praetorian or Maleva are still in chat, let me know. Like, what happened from your point of view? Was it a G-lock? Did the wings break? 11.7 G there. So at that point, you are breaking systems inside the Tomcat. Your INS is probably slightly foobar. Or at least it has the ability to. And you are more or less just drifting at that stage. So I'm calling that G-lock, and the AMRAM is still 2 miles away. It's 3G, but you're not really pulling from what I can see. I think that's just drifting at this stage. Into the dirt, yeah. That's unfortunate. So 3rd death to of ECV. Here's the 4th. Oh, just quick succession. The 64th were, you know, we made a joke earlier about, oh, I'm going to have to check my notes here. ECV56 Triple being a neurosurgeon, and we're making jokes about clinical finishes, but unfortunately, I think it was the 64th coming in with the, just the quick succession, and that's not necessarily all down to the 64th. There's circumstance there too, like this G-lock or someone not finding a notch or terrain. But the fact that this Phoenix is coming in quick succession, it's, yeah, that hurts. So before this death, they're 4v6. This death happens. They're 3v6. Very quickly then Fortinero dies, and as we said in the little introductions, that is their most experienced pilot. I just want to look at the numbers here, guys. This is a really close shot. 14-mile Phoenix. They're lower, so 14,000 feet against 24. They're both just about supersonic, and that Phoenix is going to hurt. Fornero is trying to turn, then decides to go for vertical notch. I think he got caught between two mines there. He was trying to extend, so you can see the split S. Let's have a quick look at this. I'm going to give my usual caveat at this point, which is it's all fine and well sitting here watching a Tacview after the fact. It's completely different being in the pit. But I'm trying to just present a, somewhat subjective but somewhat objective look at what has happened. So I think, if I can slow this down again, there's a split S being started and got caught thinking I can run from this. Then realized it's a Phoenix and went, okay, I now need to find a vertical notch. Possibly overextended in the split S. No, that's actually different than what I saw a second ago. Okay. When I looked at this initially, I thought that there was a different direction, but might just be the roll that threw me. Yeah, he's in a bank and then rolls. And just couldn't find the notch. So I'm going to look at this G doubler here in the top left. $4G, $5G, $6G, and haste, yeah. Just couldn't get to the notch quickly enough. I think it's just more G needed. That close, that's your only defense, really. And it's so difficult to pull off. And again, very easy to kind of sit back here, saying it in hindsight. Much more difficult to pull off in the pit, so trying to take nothing away from the pilots here. So at this point, as we said, in the match, this is now the 64th match. I think we did a quick inventory of missiles at this stage, and it wasn't great. So let's just roll forward. I think there's too much more to watch. We'll see some missile exchanges, and I think very quickly that is the end of round 1. Let's just go back here quickly, and you'll see that range. With any shot, I'm always interested to see the parameters, because it just tells you, so much about the PK. Probability of kill for anyone unfamiliar. So, Jumper is firing a 10-mile AMRAAM at about 21,000 feet. Jumper is just about supersonic. Shuko has turned hot at 19,000. They're more or less co-altitude. It's supersonic too. So that's a good closure rate between them. That's a dangerous fox. Generally speaking, 10-mile AMRAAMs are a little bit bleh, but like at that stage, the problem there is that that gets down to about 5 to 6 miles, and then you're kind of defending it. Return shot goes out. I'm not sure if this connects. I have a feeling it does. Trying to split S. Yeah. So again, just for the sake of completeness, I'm going to just watch that defense again. Good itchy pull. So to not hold him back there. I think possibly just going for the vertical notch at that point. It's just too close to outrun it now at the end of the split S, but again, it's hard to know that up front. Especially 10 miles. 10 mile co-alt. I'd probably have done the same thing, truthfully. I'd probably have pulled a split S and tried to run away. It's the fact that, being hot until 5 or 6 miles, it's no longer a 10-mile fox. It's now, okay, you're defending it while it's 5 or 6 miles away. It's a different proposition. Triple with an AMRAAM heading out. I have a feeling Yaga is about to get the kill here. In fact, Yaga is the one. 11 miles, 40,000 feet, Mach 1.6. All the energy under the sun. And that was unfortunate. I think Trippo. I'm gonna have to actually watch from Trippo's point of view, but it looks like Trippo I mean, you know, the match is pretty much done at this point with a 6v1, but... Just low level. Missiles coming. That was probably a very late chaff coming out there. I think he's just trying to take Yaga with him, perhaps. Yep, there's the... Oh! Well, Tacview was showing that his AMRAM connected with the other AMRAM, but both AMRAMs exploded in Triple's face, so unfortunately got taken out either way. And had Yaga's missile been defeated, Cripps was coming in with another one, so good cover, good flanking from Cripps. 64th collapsed in on the remaining ones. Yeah, again, unfortunate round for the Condors. Good round from the 64th. I think they were generally in kind of good positions to support each other. Yaga up high was a massive danger throughout that. I don't think he ever descended, really. And just had the speed and energy to kind of stay up there. Maybe that's what the flank was about, just buy that time and come in at opportune moments. I would be very interested to hear, but I suspect we won't hear, because that's something they may do again. Who knows? I don't think they necessarily want to talk about it too much. It's worked for them. Alrighty, let's look at round 2. There was no RTB in this, not that we really want to follow that through in attack view anyway. The Condors waived the landing. And this is round 2, with the 64th coming out of Kerman, and the Condors coming out of Banderbas. Well, let's watch from the 64th point of view this time, and we will catch, I think, Fortinero was in the lead. Hang on, done that arseways. There we go. So, the big talking point of this round, and again, this is what we had a lot of discussion in chat. You know, I'll stick with the center for the moment, because we have some missile exchanges, but I don't think anything really happens here. In fact, I'm just going to have a quick look at the numbers of... just a quick look at a couple of the numbers there. So, first thing, I think, is Praetorian and Malevo. Again, big shout out to Rios. 67 miles out from X-Man. X-Man is 29 to Bulls. Tomcat is 5 miles inside the bubble. And we will look at Praetorian to X-Man, 67 miles, 35,000 feet. X-Man's at 30. I'm going to come back to Falcon's comment in a moment. I just want to watch this Phoenix come in, see if it got anywhere close. AMRAM on X-Man. Phoenix was going after No Wheels. Our X-Man, I think it has changed its mind. No Wheels and Vati with a Phoenix back out towards Praetorian and Malevo. So again, did nothing. None of that was the most interesting thing that happened here. The most interesting thing that happened here was on the flank. So Yaga is, and this is the key thing that was causing all the debate, and at this point I'll stop and read out Falcon's message. Falcon says, if he is out of the bubble, he is safe, because nobody can come close to him or chase him. Not fair for Pilot inside the bubble, because he can't leave the bubble to chase the bandit. Also, if he has pressure inside, unfair. So I'm not sure if the last bit of that, if he has pressure inside, if you're saying that the Pilot outside is being foxed upon. Is that what you mean, Falcon? If so, please elaborate in chat. I'll just continue with my own breakdown here. So he's 87 miles from Bullseye, so he's well outside the bubble. The bubble is 45 miles from Bulls. We've got Fortinero just inside the bubble. We were talking about this in stream. He was just inside that 45 nautical mile bubble. At least that we saw on... that's a good point, actually. That we saw on the bubble with the kind of the straight sides between waypoints. If we consider it round, does Fortinero ever go beyond 45 miles? I don't think so. I think he just about stayed inside. It would probably make the whole thing moot if he did drift out, but I think it was just inside. No, 45.2. 45.5, so that, I think, is just outside before he turns in. Which doesn't make sense to me, actually. I just want to pause and think about that for a second. Because on the F10 screen, as you folks saw during the stream, there were two waypoints drawing that line of the bubble. Whiskey 11, I think it was, and probably Whiskey 10 or Whiskey 12. And on a straight line, he was inside it. If we consider an arc between those two, it would actually go wider than the straight line. So the distance says he's just outside, but I'm not sure I'm going to trust Tacview necessarily over what we saw. Either way, he has turned back inside. We saw in F10 he turned back inside before that line, so I'm going to put that down to margin of error at the moment. Because the interesting thing that happens, though, is that Fortinero and Tripo, there's what, about 10 miles between them, they're both pressing for Yaga. At this stage, they're now trying to push against the flank, and this I think was clever of the Condors. Yeah, we're going to talk through about what happened here in a second. Falcon coming back to elaborate. Pilot inside is limited. Can't leave it if somebody presses him inside the bubble. Okay, right. So yeah, the guys on the inside are stuck inside basically. I think some of this may be academic, but we'll just talk through anyway. So Fortinero is back inside, if you like. Inside, Foxes turns away, so it's still definitely inside. Foxes at Yaga outside the bubble. So I think there are two talking points here that we probably want to clarify with, you know, I'm going to say with rules, but it's not in black and white from what I looked up. Again, my gut feeling is that I think this is fine. I think this is just the way that it works. It's the first time we've seen it like this, which is why we're pausing to talk about it. But we've seen kind of similar things with Phoenixes outside the bubble, crossing the bubble, possibly killing someone else outside the bubble. I certainly need to look back at previous streams. I'm thinking of SPQR and PTF when I talk about that. So we have Yaga, who is currently 67 miles from Bulls, so it's 45 miles to the bubble. He is about 22 miles, 23 miles outside the bubble. So guys inside the bubble are shooting out. So point one is that cool? Can you shoot inside the bubble outside? Point two then is Yaga Foxes. So Yaga Foxes from outside the bubble to guys who are inside the bubble. So again, Yaga's position is 67-ish miles, so, you know, 22-ish, 23-ish miles outside the bubble. So again, parameter-wise here, 40-mile shot, 47,000 feet, Mach 1.3, why not? You know, you've got the energy. Tripo then is here at 37,000, Mach 1.2. I think that may be who the missile goes for, actually, because I think Yaga kills Tripo here. Spoilers. So 2 points really. Can you shoot from inside the bubble outside to guys outside, and can you shoot from outside the bubble inside? Because this kill is the first of the round, and I think that kind of sets the tone for what's about to happen. Oof, that was actually kind of close. This is Fortinero's shot. Yaga working hard for the notch here, I think. Lots of chaff coming out. That gets pretty close, I think. Looks closer than it was. 4,000 or 5,000 feet, but that's still pretty close given the distances we were talking about. Okay, so I think Yaga was holding... I was going to say holding the missile for a while. At this stage, when I think Yaga's turning, that's about 11 miles out, so that's probably held until Pitbull. So that was way too fast, apologies, let's roll that back. Played in real time. Missile screaming down. I'm just going to roll that back for a second. That missile got up to 82,000 feet. Mach 3 at its peak. 3.3. Doesn't really pick up much speed beyond that, I think. And then hits. So there's the first kill of the match from an aircraft outside the bubble. So I think those are the 2 points really to clarify. And as I say, if I'm remembering previous matches correctly, we may already have seen Phoenix launches outside the bubble at people inside, or Phoenix launches inside the bubble at people outside, or Phoenix launches outside the bubble at people outside, where the Phoenix crossed the bubble. So Falcon is in chat again saying you can't intercept him after you're in the bubble and prevent his attacks. So yeah, you can't chase him, you can't burn him down. He's, you know, effectively... I don't say invincible out here, because he's not. That AMRAAM was close. You can still get AMRAAMs to connect, but you can't chase him. You know, there's a standoff range here that they can't exceed. So I think they're legitimate questions, and that's something I think it'll be interesting just to chat about. So just having a really quick look at Discord to see if there was any chatter on it already. Anywho, that is what happened. That are the circumstances, etc. That was the first ECV Condor loss. And at this point now, it is 6/64th v5 Condors. Fortinero, from memory, just kind of presses this way because currently he's 33 mols. He can't really press on Yaga. He's only got about 15 mols of bubble space left. Tom Hermit, thank you for the follow. Welcome along. Good flights. I hope you will watch back at some point through the stream, because you had your lights on again, sir. I had a reference to the Persian Gulf little clip I sent you. So anyway, summary. Two takeaways there, 2 questions to ask. Can you shoot into the bubble from outside? Can you shoot from inside the bubble outside? I'm not an adjudicator, I'm not any form of official in that regard, so we'll just see what's said. Either way, it's unfortunate for the Condors, because I think that was clever of them to push Yaga, just the numbers didn't line up to make it work for them, either in the position, the spacing, the altitudes, etc., and they came away with a downed jet. So Fornero was charging, and now at this point Yaga has shot again, and I for the sake of, you know, fairness, etc., again, I kind of have to look at these numbers, so I'm going to just draw this out. That is 62 mols, give or take, so that is... God, I can't math. 15 mols outside the bubble? 17 mols, I think. So there is a Fox now coming in on Fortinero, which he's going to have to defend, and Fortinero again. Fox is back out, so we have 2 instances, effectively, of the same thing, with the same 2 questions, I think, coming out of it. That's defeated. Well done, Fortinero. And I think that ended up being a cheap shot, perhaps, because he had to defend early. Again, if we look at the numbers and parameters, I think Yaga had all the energy advantage there that Fortinero didn't. Yeah, he's down at 15,000 feet. I mean, 30 miles, you probably feel like you have to put one out just as a defensive shot, but otherwise Yaga's coming in and burning down on you, to be honest, so I probably really had to do that. But it didn't really have a high PK, so a defensive shot. Yaga's one on the other hand, 38,000 feet, 30 miles, about 17, nearly 20-ish, 23,000 feet difference. I can't math tonight. Mach 1.1, that has a chance. Oh, that's way too fast. I mean, in the end it was defended well. Went for the notch and then went into the ground. So 2 engagements with the same 2 questions. So at this stage, more stuff is happening in the middle, but there's not a lot in terms of, I think, of interest. I'm just going to roll back to just make sure we haven't missed anything kill-wise or anything that was particularly close. I think there's an AMRAAM here, actually, from Combs that could be interesting to follow. So it looks like it got close. Juco defending. Oh, the tail end of the split S. I might have watched that, perhaps. Something like that rings a bell. Phoenix out from Praetorian and Malevo. Doesn't really track anything. Shreko and X-Man exchanging. Again, they're quite a distance apart, so there's nothing really interesting to watch there. Machine and no wheels, so the distances are starting to collapse in. We're like 20 miles, 15 miles. You know, there's a lot of aggression here in terms of missiles. It looked like at this point that the 64th were a little stretched to me. You know, I think the proof of the pudding is that they weren't, but there were a few of them cold. The grinder was possibly being stretched, I think. Tau Herma was in on his own first, Combs was turning hot. X-Man was beginning to turn, but was still mostly cold. So you had two firmly cold, a third just about to turn hot, another one half hot, Yaga doing Yaga stuff, and Tau Hermit on his own. So there was kind of an opportunity. So if I were to kind of say my hypothesis of whether the grind was breaking down was accurate, potentially evidence, but I think Tau Hermit was smart enough here to turn away and not get overextended. And certainly that Amram pushing Juco cold helped a ton, because Tau Hermit runs straight up towards friendlies. So briefly, perhaps it was there was an opportunity, but I think the experience again just kind of saw it. There is all kinds of dancing going on from Combs here. Let's just see how far out that missile was. That was 13 mils. Combs looks like he's driving on somebody. I'm not entirely sure who. Then the Amram comes. Right hand brake. Turns cold. And then reverses. Little wiggle. And comes back. It's funny to watch those. Alright, so X-Man sent an Amram over there. That looks like it's been defeated. Oh, Amram coming in on X-Man. That is closer than might otherwise have been. Fortinero, that is a 13 mile shot. X-Man had fired at 17 miles. So Fortinero didn't have too long until Pitbull either way, but had to defend. Okay, X-Man's missiles weren't doing too much. It's corkscrewing about here. And it's fine, has the energy. Doesn't really get close. I think this is X-Man's second one that had more of a chance. First one goes in the ground, second one, it doesn't track. Oh, here's Yaga. I'm going to have to do the same thing again here. Just out of consistency's sake. So, from Tacview's point of view, Yaga has just entered the bubble, so there's no question or question marks around this, although we're already seeing the Tacview's distances don't necessarily match up to what we saw in-game. Although, the waypoints in-game may not necessarily match up. Hard to know, really. Either way, I think the two earlier examples are more clear-cut of the questions. So, Yaga has a missile on machine, has a missile going up there. This was a kill there. I'll come back to that. So the second one on machine does nothing. Oh no, that's a missile that died. My bad. There's a Phoenix on Juco. That doesn't look like it hit. Gamma keeping up with the emotes. Alright, I'm gonna watch this Phoenix. That is 18 miles, 14,000 feet. He's kinda level. I think we're just seeing some desync with Phoenixes, to be honest. And just again, that's No Wheels and Vati. Let's not forget the Rios. I thought this killed Juco. Oh, that is some bullshit. I mean, like, DCS Tacview, we all know it's, you know, it's not necessarily always representative, right? But this, ah, man, really? Right, so that's just before it hits. I'm kind of trying to find my words here. That's at 1.6 miles apart. 7,000 feet apart. And some sort of lateral distance too. It's like, these Tacviews are from the server. the way DCS missiles should work is that, you know, it launches and it's what the server sees. Like, it's almost as if this is what the client sees, but the server is calculating it as down here. But again, the TACT view is from the server, so this should be saying... Again, I just don't know how DCS is actually presenting this. Is Tacview drawing what the client is seeing, but the server calculation is saying it's down here? It's just something weird like that, the way DCS is sending all this data around. But that's utter bullshit. Taking nothing away from the kill, you know? I've no doubt we could watch back the track and see it better in that regard, and it's just something weird with the kind of telemetry like that. But the fact you have a kill being represented like this in Tacview is bullshit. That's sad. So that is, I want to say, death number 2 for the Condors. We are, again, it was 08:30 when the Tacview timestamp started, but it took 10-ish minutes for everyone to get ready. About 20 minutes into the match, we'll say, and we are at 2 Condors down, so 6v4, which is quite unfortunate. Okay, so if we have a quick look at this, from a position point of view, this is not good for the Condors either. I'm trying to find Bullseye. Bullseye is here, right? And our airfields are here. So if we call that north-south here, we've got 3 Condors north of Bulls. This guy is 15 miles from Praetorian and Malevo in the back. Is 17 miles from Machine, and this dude Shreko up here is kind of on his own and in trouble, because he is now right in the group of 64. That's 5 miles to Combs, 9 miles to Tab, where are these guys? 11 miles to No Wheels, Vati, and then Tau Hermit similarly. It's only about 14 miles to X-Man, 15 miles to Yaga, Yaga being, again, stupidly high and fast. It's disgusting. I'm sorry, Yaga, but it's just disgusting seeing people up that high and fast and being able to keep it, you know? It's, nothing against the tactic or about the, the ability of the pilot or anything like that, not at all. It's just seeing something that high. That's absolute Viper, 101 right there in the current meta of the game. Get high, get fast, Mach 1.5, 40-something thousand feet. Stay high, stay fast, keep the energy, lob AMRAMs, and you are just, a massive threat. So, well done in, playing the aircraft in that regard. I mean more it's that you were never pushed down, that you could stay up there. It's like, oh my god. I feel for the Condors here. Alright, so this dude, I'm afraid, Shreko, you are in trouble, and I would not be surprised if you don't die here in a second. Checking my notes, I think Combs gets a kill, and it might even be this AMRAM here, to be honest. So let's have a look at those parameters. A 9 to 10 mile shot, 11,000 feet, you're both supersonic. What's the ground altitude here? You're not too far above the deck. I was looking over this, by the way. I think I'm completely wrong about the terrain having had any factor in this. It does not look like it has in my book at all. So, got that shout wrong. Let's just watch these missiles. I think Combs gets the kill here. And to be honest, given the level of support around Combs, I don't think Shreko was long for this world. Just got overextended, I think. Turned cold and couldn't outrun it. So let's compare. The two guys are more or less the same parameters, and they fox. Who foxes first? Combs foxes first, and then 5 mile AMRAM from Shreko. Combs is starting to defend. He's already turned, what, about 30 degrees. So what I want to watch here is just the defense, because I think he just goes straight for the notch, yeah. He knows it's close enough that he's not going to outrun it. You're 5 to 6 miles, just anything within that with an AMRAM, and you're, in trouble. So Combs with the right defense, and unfortunately Schweko did not seem to get away with it. I'm just going to check exactly what he did here. Hello, Bullet. Thank you for stopping by. So Schweko looked like he was trying to turn cold. And that was the wrong thing to do given the distance, I think. But I also want to just have a quick look at the G, because rolling it backwards here I see 8 to 9. There's 8, 9. So it's not a slow turn. Your airspeed is possibly just extending that. You know, throw the brakes out and try and slow down to tighten that up would help you, but you know, then you're losing speed in the extend out. Yeah, it's the notch really. Combs did the right thing there, and sadly for Schweko, I think got caught out in the wrong decision. Here's Yaga again doing Yaga-y things. That is going to become a meme, Yaga. I'm sorry. 25 miles from Bulls. Well inside the bubble, well inside the fight regularly now. That's a good 20 mile shot. 32,000 has come down a bit. Was the Fox that low? At 37,000, something like that. On machine. Now that does not connect because Yag only got 1 kill in this fight, but we'll just have a quick look to see how close it was. There's other stuff happening here. Kills about to happen. There's one in the middle, so we're going to come back. Yaga's missile decides to change course. That was interesting. I mean, it's trying to pull lead on machine, I think. And then loses him. Interesting. Now let's go back to that kill. So again, at this stage, after Schweko died, here, let's just have a quick look at the setup. Fortinero, again a heavy hitter for the Condors, is 17 miles from Machine and 16 miles from Praetorian. And unfortunately, they're just being picked off one by one. I mean, just too far for any mutual support. I think there was probably a decision to turn back in here. I think it's... okay, supporting Juco perhaps, trying to take the pressure off. So I think this was the Phoenix we looked at, the ridiculous Phoenix. At least the way it's being presented in Tacview here. So he's dead. Fortinero has 3 bandits close. That's 8 miles, 5 miles. Is foxing... what is he foxing at? Right, so if this is Juco, and Juco dies here, Fortinero is foxing at this general area. Was he foxing at a missile? Or was this trying to pull lead on Tau Hermit and just went dumb because Hermit turned cold? At a guess I'm going to say the latter, just Hermit turned cold, but DCS is fucked at the moment. Wow. Okay, so Fortinero again is kind of isolated, 12 miles here, 16 miles, 6 feet 3. This is, you know, this has been a tough fight for ECV56. I think they've gotten unlucky on a few things that we talked through, but they're just being whittled down. I think the 64th have been really disciplined about trying to, well, not even trying to, they're successfully, for the most part. I think there was only 1 death on the 64's 64th side this round. Who was it? Combs, I think. Yeah, Combs dies. He's still alive at the moment. At some point coming up he dies. But they were successful at staying alive and then taking opportunities to pick people off who became isolated. So that's a very disciplined flight. And maintaining that level of discipline, I think, is not an easy thing to do. It comes from a lot of training and experience. So, you know, big props to the 64th there. Let's just roll it forward here. We are nearly through, folks. Fortinero has an MRAM come at him. Oh, that's unfortunate. I think there's a decision here where you recommit, or you run cold and regroup. Now, I could spend a while probably talking through, analysing that, but turning hot basically got Fortinero killed. I'm not sure necessarily turning cold would have been great at the moment with somebody behind who could have burned them down. They are cold, so actually the correct thing probably would have been to turn cold, regroup with your guys, get everyone together, and just start bleeding missiles off the 64th and try and, draw it out a bit. Turning back in here, maybe in a rush of blood to the head, may have been seen an opportunity. But Tab recommitted. And there's only 8 mile separation. When Fortunero foxed, missile now is only 4 miles away, 5 miles away. So again, this is tough. We've talked about this a number of times already here in this debrief, but we've talked about it a lot in previous matches too. And I think the just the general meta of when it's that close, you gotta go for the notch. Turning cold, you don't have the energy. Ooh, big Phoenix coming in here. And big Phoenix going out. Disappointing. I'm just going to point one thing out here as I see it. Again, we're talking about kind of discipline and experience of the 64th. There is a lovely little grinder movement here. I'm just going to let this roll. And these guys actually, like the comms here must have been like on point. So you can see Hermit, Combs, X-Man turning hot. You've got Tab and No Wheels, they're kind of lining up. And you've got this lovely line there, right? Of the hot element and the cold element just perfectly lining up. Yeah, how much of that is happenstance just because they're in the area? Yeah, okay. But generally speaking, when people fly together and know what they're doing, that thing is well coordinated. And, it can just happen that you're in that area that close to each other, etc. So that is really good, squadron play there. Positioning, tactics, etc. Comms, most importantly, like that doesn't happen without good comms. So Machine is defending an AMRAAM, while the Tomcat presses in hot. I think at this stage, Tomcat had only a couple of Phoenixes left. And here is the one that is Praetorian and Malevo. Happy birthday, Malevo. There's the big kill. And sadly for the Condors, that was the only kill they got this round. Unfortunately. I'm actually sorry to say that's the only kill they got all game. Which is disappointing. Alright, so missile count here from memory was almost non-existent at this point. Maybe 1 or 2 missiles, heaters left on the Tomcat. These guys still had a ton of missiles. So this was all day long going to be the 64th at this point. And just as I spot Tab foxing, I think we were watching the Tomcats because they were about to get in with missiles and guns, and we missed this live. I do recall looking at numbers and distance and saying Tab just has to burn them down here. There was no support coming from the Tomcat because of missiles, and that's exactly what Tab did, so big credit to Tab. Right, there's this first AMRAAM from X-Man. Gets some AMRAAM out. Watching the aspect, seeing him defending, knows there's no threat to Tab right now. Epic music is epic. For anyone who doesn't know this music, oh, Machine, you got yourself killed. I think that AMRAAM was defeated. Oh dear, yeah. Looking through it, this was notching one way, turned cold, reversed it, snaked a little bit, and then notched the other, and then turned back in, thought it was clear, and then went back to a notch. That was unfortunate. Get credit to Tab though. Tab was here. Even if Machine went cold, Tab was going to burn down. And worst case, Tab was going to run out of fuel with Machine, and both of them were out of the fight, and 64th still would have had the numbers. So, yeah, I don't think there was too much Machine could have done there, certainly with the missile count, but the defending, I think, got him killed earlier than it might have. And here's Praetorian and Malevo. Three miles. There's the 9M missed, but you ain't doing that to a Phoenix. Not like that. Not with flares and a barrel roll. And there was a missile, I think, hitting a missile. Or hitting wreckage. That's what it was, hitting the wreckage. That's how X-Man got the kill credited, by the way, in game. His AMRAM came in and shot the wreckage, so... As we all know, the last hit in DCS is the one who gets the kill, so... X-Man stealing kills. Grr, X-Man. That's clearly a joke, by the way. Alright, that is all she wrote. So, you know, it was good effort from both teams. The 64th, unfortunately for the Condors, were the more clinical and just the more, you know, the more finesse, I want to say, with their movements. I don't know what that's down to, you know. I won't speculate on that, but fair play to the 64th in this match. They had 2 excellent rounds. They had 1 loss, I think I'm right in saying, across those 2 rounds, and 11 kills. One of the missing one was a maneuver kill, which we think was G-Lock. Again, if anyone from the Condors are still here in chat, let us know, please. I would like confirmation, basically, if that assumption is right. It's nice sometimes to look through these Tacviews and go, I think that is this, but to find out will be useful from the point of view of, you know, just recognizing that again. So then we have our... I was trying to see if Yaga rejoined and didn't. So here are the heroes because they flew formation. X-Man, Tam, and Tau Hermit. Awesome job. Big round of applause for flying formation. Make it look pretty good. And that is all she wrote. Gandalf, thank you for that confirmation. Blackout and ground crash. Awesome. So going through the Tacview, looking at it, I thought that was G-Lock alright, but it is good to have that confirmation. Thank you for that. I hope when you guys watch back the stream, you will enjoy the little intros and blurbs that you sent on, so thank you for sending that too. One of the things I try to do with streaming these matches is to reach out to the squadrons and give them an opportunity to talk a little bit about themselves. And talk a little bit about the pilots in particular. You know, as little or as much as they want to provide. And we had a few nice little anecdotes about the squadron and the pilots there. We made sure that Malevo got every shout out that he could get. And happy birthday again. But that is the match, I'm afraid. So one last shout out to what's coming up with the TACT. So we have lots of matches coming up. There are 5 matches next weekend. So Friday, the 2nd of July, Toro versus Bravo is being hosted by Deliberator. So keep an eye for that. And then on Saturday, the 3rd of July, there are 2 matches, 1900 Zulu. First one hosted by myself will be MCPV versus the number 15 Battle Axes. Second one, also at 1900 Zulu, will be TFT versus PTF. Try saying that 3 times fast. And that will be hosted by 104th Maverick. Then we have 2 matches on Sunday. The first one is at 1900 Zulu, and that's Hitch Hitch versus SF. Again, 104th Maverick will be hosting that. And the final match of the weekend is also at 1900 Zulu. They're all at 1900 Zulu next weekend. That is Bravo versus D3W, hosted by our good friend Haramisi. Alrighty, so that is the TACT match finished. I'm going to end the stream here in just a moment and basically turn off the delay and everything. I will be flying again, probably for a few hours yet, so if anyone's interested in hanging about, hang about. Regular DCS stream and shenanigans will be up again shortly. For anyone not, thank you very much for coming along. Hope you enjoyed the match, enjoyed the stream, enjoyed the commentary and the breakdown. It's definitely a little bit tougher doing it by myself and not having someone to bounce things off, so I'm interested in feedback from folks. If you have anything you want to pass along there, just hit me up on Discord. Always happy to hear feedback. I do strongly suspect it's a better presentation with 2 people indeed, but just wasn't able to find someone to fill in. There wasn't much availability this weekend, I'm afraid. So we will talk to you next weekend for TACT. We'll talk to some of you again later, because, as I said, there will be some more DCS. Roundabout, stick around, we'll get back to normal shenanigans shortly. And hopefully more shenanigans during the week, as we do more flying. So, thank you for popping by. Hope you enjoyed, and see you soon. I will leave you with the TACT trailer, because it's awesome. Good evening, folks.
Good light. Shuttles targeted. Coming left for the shaft.